they have a robbery in progress. It's me. I look up and there's a police officer right there, and he says my name, and he says, Jesse. And then I look at him, and then I just turn around and start running. I could hear dogs barking, and I hear hella sirens, bro. I'm like, so 8 years fixed, 7 years parole. And so I knew I was going to the big house. This is how we make the tattoo guns. Believe it or not, bro, but I pissed on your bed.
This is Jesse Jones, everybody. He's a lost brother to me. I believe you lived with us for a year. Was it only a year?
Yeah, I'd say about that. From 17 to 18, and then I went into the guard.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So just growing up, I was a little 12-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool to have another older brother.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so it's been years since I've seen you. And we haven't really gotten to talk yet.
Yeah.
Just me and you. Jeremiah was telling me all about it, how cool it was to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, dude. So you're my long lost brother. What do I want to ask you? First of all, I don't know what you're comfortable sharing.
Everything.
Everything?
Open book.
I want to hear your entire life story at this point because it's insane, I think, at least from what I hear.
Okay. So I was born to Tammy MacDonald in Kirkpatrick. And I have like 3 half brothers, a half sister, and a real sister. Anyways, it was the 90s, and they were kind of into the dope game, and so eventually they lost us all to our family who adopted us. So my big brother and my big sister went up with my grandparents up to Coeur d'Alene. And then me and my sister, who have a different dad than our other brother and sister, we went with my aunt into Reseda, which is in the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles. And so I grew up not really knowing who my parents were. I was told that my aunt was my mom, and so I grew up calling her mom. And
oh wow,
I found out at a young age that she wasn't my mom, and so I had some pretty big trust issues from that. And eventually I started rebelling because of it. And I wanted to meet my parents, and they wouldn't let me meet my parents. And so I did okay in school. I'm very smart. I could have passed, but I chose to not, to retaliate against my aunt at the time. And so the abuse in the house was verbal and physical. It wasn't the best upbringing, but it was better than most. So I'm not upset about that at all. She was a single aunt at the time, so I can only imagine what it was like trying to raise 2 little heathens. But I had some pretty big freedoms. I was allowed to skate anywhere I wanted and do whatever I want for the most part.
You like to skate?
Yeah, I love
Amen, dude.
Yeah. I'm no good at it, but I love doing it.
I like to longboard, so I don't do any tricks or anything. I just like cruising.
I'm a longboarder too now.
Yeah, good stuff.
I fractured my arm when I was like 10 or 13 or something.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, yeah, we're just gonna stick to the longboards.
Yep.
So
I broke my arm 2 weeks before we were moving. So all of a sudden, sorry, Mom, I can't help anymore.
But convenient.
Yeah, kind of convenient, but also I felt so bad.
Yeah.
Because she told me not to go break a limb because we're moving soon.
Yeah.
And it was 3 a.m. There was manholes in the road?
Yeah.
There's like little tiny ones. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
But my wheel went over it and it flipped open and my wheel went inside, hit the pavement immediately. So my board just stopped and I went flying.
Where was that at?
That was the intersection between Spokane and Mullen, I believe, up in Post Falls.
Okay.
Yeah, so like right next to the public library.
Oh.
Yeah, right there, right in that intersection. 3 a.m. with my other friend.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so then I rode home like with my arm extended out and I couldn't move it anymore. I'm like, well, hopefully it's not broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So after that, I started failing. I was a freshman. She moved to Santa Clarita, California, and I started rebelling. I don't know why. I hated her. I hated what she lied to me for and wouldn't let me see my mom. So I started failing my classes on purpose. I would just turn in my tests without even filling them out. I wouldn't do my homework. And, I actually failed because she told me that C's were good enough. And I was like, okay, well, let's see how you like F's.
Ooh,
So
yeah, dude.
I brought nothing but F's home. It's serious, but it's really not that serious because I'm doing well now. And I wouldn't have experienced everything that I've experienced if I didn't make these decisions in the past. So anyways, I don't talk to her for 2 weeks straight. She drives us to school, picks us up and stuff, and I don't say a word at dinner, nothing. And so eventually she comes into my room and she tells me I'm going to go live with my mom. And like, that was the happiest I had been in probably years at that point. And so I pack up the little things that I own as a 15-year-old, and she sends me to my other aunt's house, and my mom comes and picks me up from there. So now my aunt and my mom don't get along because obviously she took her children and then kept us from them. And so there's a lot of resentment there. And so they made up now years later, but yeah, so I go to live with my mom, and then I'm in Riverside, California. That's where I was born, and going to school at a place called La Sierra, and I'm doing well. I'm getting A's and B's. It's not a problem. Like,
Cool, dude.
I can do just fine in school. I'm a sophomore, and then I started touching the drugs, and so I'm 15 years old. Me and this girl Christina would walk to school together because her house was on the way. She would steal her dad's Hennessy. I would take my mom's vodka, and we'd just put it in little bottles and drink on our way to school. And so eventually that led to, hey, do you want to try some ecstasy? And I was like, yeah.
Whoa.
So I started doing ecstasy at 15, and there's all different types of ecstasy too, but I remember the one specifically that I took one day made me feel like super energetic and like awake. And I knew that eventually I knew that there was meth in it. And so I unknowingly took meth, but I knowingly took drugs. But yeah, I was smoking weed. Then I started, I did fine in school still, but I was using drugs. My mom didn't like that. And so eventually, after a few altercations with her, she decided that, I would leave the house. She would try to ground me and stuff, and I would just leave the house and stay the night in random places. And then eventually, one day I was walking home from school before she got home from work, and she picked me up in her white Lincoln Town car and had 2 bags packed in the back with all my stuff. She said, "Get in." And she dropped me off at the airport, and they didn't give me no money. They paid for the ticket in advance, and then they told me that they're going to send me to go live with my sister up in Coeur d'Alene, the one that went to go live up there when we were kids.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, well. And so I remember my sister picking me up from the Spokane airport with a tuna sandwich because I was so hungry, bro. They dropped me off a day early at the airport. So I slept the night in the airport, then got on the plane the next day to Spokane. And then my sister picked me up, and that's when I started staying with her on Sherman in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I didn't really know anybody. I didn't really have any friends. And I started going to school, and then I met Josh, your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because you ended up going to Coeur d'Alene at that point.
Yeah. So I was
good stuff.
I was already 16 and I was turning 17. I met your brother. I met another guy named Cody Porter. He was super cool. And same thing. Like, I wasn't going to change. My sister was 21 or 22 at the time, and I was 17. And she basically let me do what I wanted. She didn't want me to do what I wanted, but she knew that there was no stopping it. So still drinking, met some friends, Paige Brown and a bunch of party kids from Coeur d'Alene High School, and just jumped into the party scene and started drinking and having fun. We'd go to bonfires up at Hayden Creek and Bumblebee, and we just party all night. And there were some crazy experiences. And eventually, my sister moved us in with her coworker who had a house, and so she got a bedroom, and then I slept in like the dining room on a mattress, and so I slept there for probably like 6 months, and then my sister started talking to one of her ex-boyfriends, and then he let us move in with him, and I got my own room, and so I was able to do whatever I wanted again. I just took advantage of the situation. Eventually they broke up again, and my sister was dating another guy, and she was like, do you want to come with me? And I was like, no, not really. Like, you just keep putting me in situations where I'm just gonna have to kind of figure it out again, you know. And so I went to school that day. Josh would pick me up every day from school, or from my house, wherever it was I was living, and he'd drive me to school. And yeah, basically I went to school that day, and I was like, Josh, I think I'm going to be homeless, dude. Like, I don't want to go live with my sister, and I ain't got nowhere to go. And then he was just like, well, you can come live with me, dude. And then I was like, for real? And he's like, yeah, I just have to ask my mom. And so I think he texted or called his mom, and she said that was fine. And then
that's my mom.
That's your mom.
Let's go.
And then your mom's a superhero, bro. Like,
oh yeah, dude.
Like, I didn't really know what I was walking into, but I walked into it, and there was nothing but love in that house. And I know there were some other things going on, but I was very unaware of those things. I didn't know what was going on because I had my own life that was starting to unfold as a young man, you know?
Yeah, right.
And so I think I worked at Wendy's at the time.
Let's get. Yeah, do you know the Wendy's in Post Falls, right?
No, off of Appleway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Wendy's in Post Falls had a car go through it a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So I remember driving by and seeing a huge hole in the side. That was pretty cool.
That's the new drive-through.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So your mom, amazing. I went to church with you guys. I ate your food.
Yep. You helped me play Zelda.
I did.
Jeremiah and I are forever indebted for that.
Yeah, I got it tattooed.
Yeah, Jeremiah kept talking about it. I was like, he's so cool.
Yeah, I grew up playing that Ocarina of Time, and that's my favorite one. I love that game. I could beat it back to back to back to back.
Amen.
But it takes forever. It's a big game. It's a really big game.
The temples are confusing still as an adult. But I beat it now. I finally beat it.
You did?
I went back and beat it a few years ago.
Nice.
Yep, on the Nintendo Switch. They ported it over.
Oh, really? Did they up the graphics and stuff?
No.
Oh,
just the new controller was nice, so it doesn't hurt your thumb after a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I used to play that game so much when I was a kid that I would piss myself.
I did. I pissed on Josh's bed reading a Believe It or Not book.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like, believe it or not, bro, but I pissed on your bed.
This is a few years, I think, before you showed up. So I was even younger.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a few things that you remember. Like, I remember we were tubing, I think, down some rapids.
Oh,
and I remember I fell in, and then I remember floating there. My emotions were kind of interesting at the moment. I remember feeling peace. It was kind of interesting. But then you scooped me up. All of a sudden, somebody was picking me up from behind. Yeah. And I looked around. It was you. Yeah. And I'm just like on your belly now as we were floating through the rapids. Yeah. I remember then you helped me swim to the tubes. Yeah. And your feet were all cut up and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And then I decided after the second floating trip that I'm never going floating with you guys again. Yeah. Do you remember the second one?
I think so.
With Anna and her husband.
You were there for that.
Yeah, and you guys got all caught up in the freaking washing machine next to that tree. There was a big
branch that Clayton almost died in.
Like it was a tree, dude. Yeah. It was a big-ass tree.
Okay, and, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that.
Yeah, and
we haven't gone since.
I was separated from you guys. I was the only one, and everybody else was tied together. And your mom or somebody's like, I don't know about that. That looks a little sketchy. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, I'll go check it out. And then I like floated off to the side, and it was perfect. I was like, you're good, guys. Come on. And then somehow the whole fleet of you guys went into the washing machine.
Yep.
I'm so glad nobody like died.
Because that was really bad.
That's a death situation.
Yeah.
And I think the first one might have been a little more dramatic with your mom kind of freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that you would have been just fine. But I think when she started freaking out, I felt obligated. Caleb jumped in the water too to swim, but I think I was just a little farther back.
Yeah, if I remember right, it was Clayton went underwater and wasn't coming up, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was stuck under there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, scary stuff. But after that, I was like, I'm never going floating with you guys again.
Yeah, we're wild folk, bro. None of us have gone back ever since. So yeah,
it's been over 10 years then.
Yeah,
it's been over 10 years.
Cool. All right. I was wondering how much you'd remember because I remember not too much. There's one other thing. Hi, brother. Yeah, dude. Join. Here, dude. I'll set up the microphone for you. Where do you want to? Or you just want to stay off camera?
Oh, sure.
That works.
We're just talking about the floating trip.
Oh, yeah.
The first one. Yeah, but then the second one, you remember that? Were you there for that? When
if you move over, I can get it so then it's in yonder.
Yes, sir.
No, you're good, dude. This is good.
Do you remember the second one? When the whole fleet of tubes went in and the family went into the washing machine of that stump?
So 2 times?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe your memory blocked. I don't even know if you were there for the second one.
I don't know if I was.
I feel like I wouldn't go floating with your family without you, though.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, I don't know why not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, the day that you saved Joe, I was like, well, thinking his mom had 4 of us. And you went and saved him.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was just telling him I don't think that he would have drowned or died. Like the rapids weren't even that crazy.
I didn't think so either.
But I think with your mom's angst,
yeah,
it like blew the situation. And it's a mama bear. I get that. And so it might have been blown out of proportion a little bit. Yeah, but I totally get it. I get where your mom's mind was at. But
now, if it was me and then I water wings, yeah, dude, I'm going down.
Without the tubes on your arse?
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Does that work?
Yeah, it should be working. You see the little green bars going up and down?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'm not here though. You guys keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, what were we talking about? Okay. So Christmas, I think it was either Christmas Eve night or Christmas morning. You came out, your ears were all bloodied up. You removed your bullet piercings in your ear, if you remember those.
I remember the bullet piercings, but I don't remember them bleeding.
I remember you took them out, and then it caused blood to go everywhere. And then you just walked out, and I remember like looking at my Christmas presents, and I turn around, and Jesse's like, "What's up?" And you just had blood going down your face. It was pretty awesome.
So I learned later in life that putting brass in your ear is not good.
No?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's not good.
I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
As a little 12-year-old.
Yeah, I thought I was cool walking around with bullets in my ears too, but it's really kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part. Yeah, so then after I turned 18, I was partying down the street from the house that you guys lived at Sean and Tyler's house. They were in the National Guard, and they were encouraging me since I just signed myself out of school. The day I turned 18, I went into the office and I was like, hey, I'm done doing this. Like, I want to sign out of school. They're like, you sure you want to do that? Positive. I was 12th grade with 10th year credits.
Wow.
So I was 2 years behind.
Gotcha.
From failing. Yeah, I did not take school seriously, but I probably should have. Yeah, so then I joined the Guard, went and got my GED, went to basic training at Fort Benning. Then I went to AIT in Virginia at Fort Lee, and then I flew back. And then that's when your brother and I got our first apartment together, or townhouse. I don't remember. It was off 15th Street. I don't remember the street name of it. Yeah. No. But I worked with Josh for a little bit too. It was either in between Wendy's or before Wendy's, doing teeth molds, and I think that I was really bad. I think I was really bad at it because
you didn't last long.
they let me go. I didn't have the attention to detail.
Caleb lasts about the same.
Josh, you want to bring the mic a little closer?
You
Yeah. Let it like tap your chin and then just pull it away.
You mean like eat it?
Yeah.
Eat the mic.
Okay, perfect. I remember when Josh was working at the teeth place.
Yeah.
I remember more when he was working at DQ because I remember going through the drive-through and seeing him.
You worked at Dairy
specifically
Queen?
requested
Oh, heck
him
yeah, dude. I slayed at Dairy
I
Queen.
didn't know that.
Dude, you get the best ice cream for me.
Was that before the teeth place?
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Made me think there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a recap on life right now, and right now we're at the point where we get out of the military. So Josh and I get our first place together. And I'm not a good friend at this point because all I care about is getting drunk and high. And all I want to do is party. And nobody else matters in the world except for me and having fun. And so having fun involves beer pong, loud music, and sex, drugs, rock and roll. And so eventually Josh is done with it. He's like, dude, I'm leaving. The lifestyle wasn't for him. And we ended on good terms. I just had to take over the lease. And eventually the neighbors were fed up with the partying too. And they kept calling the property manager. And he let me know that it was time for me to go. And so he didn't evict me, but he did tell me he wanted me to leave. And so after that, I started hanging out with one of my friends, Joe Whitworth, and him and I got a house over off St. Mary Street, same off of 15th. And same thing, just a party house, cops getting called, loud music, and eventually that property manager tells me it's time to go too. And so we leave that house. I end up getting my first charges because of that house. So they sent all the bills to collections, and they were saying that I did things that I didn't do to the house. The house was like that before we got there. Certain things, there were some things we did, but some of the things no. Anyways, I had a wild hair up my ass, and I thought it would be super cool to go in there and demand the paperwork so I can send it to the collection agencies to prove fraudulent charges or something. Anyways, I go into the office and I asked the lady for the papers, and she has them right in front of her. She's like, sorry, I can't give you these. And then, so I just snatch them out of her hand, and then I punch the camera and I leave.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah. And
did it hurt your hand?
No, I didn't hit that hard. I didn't even break the camera. I was only like 19 or 20, so I was still pretty weak. But
that's a long time ago still.
Yeah, so I caught my first misdemeanors. They charged me with petty theft and malicious injury to property. When I went to court for it, they dropped the petty theft if I pled guilty to malicious injury to property, so I took that. And I think it was like a little fine with some unsupervised probation or something. And so after that, I got another place over off of Apple Way, the Fairview Apartments, and started doing the same thing, like wasn't changing. And then the heavy drugs started coming in there, and so like meth and I didn't never do any heroin, but I'm sure people did heroin in that house. And so eventually I started losing everything. Like I had a car, I had 2 cars, I had all the things that you need for a house. Everything's just started going because they started going to the drugs. And eventually that place was like, hey, it's time for you to go. You can't pay your rent, and we know what you guys are doing in there. And so I left there, and I met a girl named Danelle, and to get off the meth, I started doing Percocets with my friend Cody. I stayed on his couch for a couple weeks, and then I started dating Danelle, and I got clean from the meth, but I started drinking a lot. I just turned 21. And so then after that, we went to Hawaii because her mom lived in Hawaii and needed roommates or something. She wanted her daughter to move to Hawaii, and then they asked me if I wanted to go, and of course I said yes. So I didn't really have much to my name. I was just getting clean, and so then we moved to Hawaii. I had a lot of, yeah, it was pretty cool. Beautiful island, Oahu off Waikiki. Surfing, working, hiking, just doing all the amazing things, loving life. But I had a lot of jealousy issues and a lot of insecurities of my own that destroyed that relationship. And so I was not a good boyfriend. I was not good to her at all. And eventually she was fed up with that. So then I left Hawaii, out of respect for her. She didn't want me in the house, so I left, and then went back to Coeur d'Alene to these apartments. It's like the cheapest apartments in Coeur d'Alene. They call it Felony Flats. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Nope.
No, it's right across the street from Winco. So it's the Winco apartments off Appleway.
Felony Flats.
Yeah, Felony Flats. And I didn't catch my felony yet, but I did catch my felony there. But so then actually before that, I'm staying in my friend Joe's garage, and I stay the winter in there until I save up enough money. We go working in Montana in Big Sky, and I saved up enough money in Big Sky because they were paying for our housing over there. And so I was just saving money. I bought Joe's Bronco off of him. Then I got the Appleway apartment next to Winco. And so then Danelle and I start loving each other again. And I tell her I'm sorry. And she moves back from Hawaii to come live with me. And I had the little 1-bedroom apartment, and same old patterns, back to disrespect. I'm not being good to her. And so then she leaves again. And then after she leaves, I leave. I go to Hayden, and I get an apartment. It's like a duplex apartment thing over in Hayden off of Lacey. And it's a little 2-bedroom. I got it all to myself. It was only like $725 at the time. And so it was totally doable. And then same thing, partying and stuff. There's a bar across the street called Razzles. I'd go there all the time and sing karaoke. And one day I'm leaving Razzles with my friend Cody Otness. And I thought it was so fun. It was snowing out, and there's ice on the ground. I thought it was so cool. Look at us drift, dude. And so I'm trying to drift, but I'm drunk. And so I like overcorrect it, and then I go straight into a fence. And I crashed my Bronco and ruined that thing.
Got to practice more.
Yeah, and what's crazy is now that Bronco's worth like $10,000, and I'm like, because they dropped the new Bronco, and so it upped in value.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I just threw $10,000 away trying to be cool, you know. And so, so I hit the fence, and I'm like, oh shit, we got to get the F out of here, because like obviously I'm drunk. And so then I get back to the house. And there's coolant everywhere. The hood's all messed up. And I start feeling super guilty. And so I get in my other car, and I go back there, and I leave a note. Hey, just want to let you know I crashed into your fence. It was super icy out. I'd like to come back and fix it. If you can message me, here's my number, or call me. So then I go back to the house, and then I was like, that was stupid. I shouldn't have let them know it was me. And so I drive back over there again and go get the note. And then I go back to the house, and I'm like, no, it's the right thing to do. And then so I crumpled the first note up. So I go and I write another note, and then I go and drop it back off, and I leave it there. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going to fix it. And so then the next day, my friend Matt Stass and I
know Matt.
Yeah.
No way. Let's go.
Yeah. So Matt pulls up in his Titan, and he pulls the post out, and then we go to I don't remember where we went to get the supplies, but we went and got the supplies and fixed the fence. And I owe Matt forever for that one. Yeah. So mind you, I was drinking and driving, and I was on probation for drinking and driving. I already had a DUI. I didn't touch on that, but one night at the bar, these guys wanted to fight, and we got into a fight, and I pulled my gun out, and I put it in the air, and I told everybody to get back, hopped in my truck, or in the Bronco, went downtown, threw up, got back in the Bronco, started driving home, and then I got pulled over, and they pulled their guns out, and they're just like, get out of the car, we know you got a gun. Like somebody called it in. And so I put my hands behind my head and started walking backwards towards them, got on my knees. They came and arrested me. I let them know the situation. Yeah, I got into a fight, and I was just trying to get my friends home. And so my friend Georgie wasn't drinking, and so he takes my truck to his house or my house or something, and then I go to jail for the night. And then I think Georgie bailed me out, and then I just paid him. But yeah, so I was on probation for that. Anyways, I lived at that house for a couple of years, and then when I was 25, I met somebody at work. He was my new partner. His name was Jake. And so then I moved to Olympia because he ended up leaving Coeur d'Alene back to where he's from, which is Chehalis. And so I went and stayed with him for a couple weeks until I got my own spot at a room at this lady's house. And at this time, Josh and I are living over there, and I don't know he's living over there.
You lived in Chehalis?
Well,
Puyallup.
in Puyallup,
Puyallup,
but
yeah,
in that
right.
area.
Huey.
Yeah. And so I joined the union, the carpenters union, and I started working, making really good money. I've been working this whole time doing carpentry, like pretty much my whole life.
Oh, cool.
So they hired me on as a journeyman. I was making $42 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous money for how immature I was. And so I drank and ate it all away and smoked it. There's not a dollar of it left. And so, anyways, yeah, Josh had a couple kids by then. And I think I met Sailor once before that. I found that kitten in the bushes, and I brought it over to Josh's house to show the girls, or the girl at the time, because Parker wasn't born yet, or maybe she was, and she was just a baby.
Yeah, I think you met Say when you moved back from Hawaii, because you came over to Mom's house at the 722.
Oh, really?
Once with the Bronco. I remember that. Yeah, you showed up here and there.
Yeah, it was periodically.
Yeah.
I always felt like kind of guilty because the family's very Christian, very good and very good to me, and I was out doing things that were immoral, you know. And so, like, being the way that I was, I didn't want to influence anybody, and I also felt very guilty, you know.
Yeah,
and so
for
like
sure.
anytime I'd show up in that house, I felt guilty because like your mom believed in me.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense. Yeah.
And I was letting everybody down, and I told myself I was doing so good, but I wasn't.
Right. But even then, that's kind of the thing, though. Is it's like that's the whole shtick. That's the whole point. Is that we are to welcome you even when you're not.
Yeah.
You know, fulfilling whatever it is that. Like, we don't have expectations. We're gonna love you no matter what.
Yeah.
You know,
there's healthy boundaries though, like
for sure.
Like if
especially Jeremiah and my mom would have been protective over us.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. If I was doing, and when I was living with you guys, I was drinking in the house, and like if you guys would have known that or how would have been influenced by it, now I would feel very guilty because I could have changed the trajectory of your life just by my actions, you know.
Well, it sounds like even staying away then was a form of respecting our mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your mom. She's amazing.
Yeah, me too. She's amazing, dude.
You were only drinking in the house because I gave you the beer.
Josh was drinking in it too.
Facts, he was.
Sitting there watching Vikings day.
So then I'm in the union, right? And
over Puyallup or Chehalis.
Yeah, in Tacoma. I'm driving to Tacoma to work in Seattle. And my boss gets really disrespectful with me one day, and I rage on him and I quit. And then I go back to Coeur d'Alene or Hayden. My sister moved up from California into my old place when I left. So my sister came up, I left to Olympia. And then so I came back, stayed on the couch for a couple weeks, and then got my own spot. And then I started talking to one of my ex-girlfriends again, Danae, who is the mother of my child. And at the time, she wasn't doing very well. She was doing drugs and stuff, and she was dancing at a state line. And I was telling her, like, you got to stop doing that. Like, I'll help you out. We can get straight together, you know? And so I meet up with her, and we get all the stuff out of her car that's not supposed to be in there. And she's afraid of her ex-boyfriend or something. And so I'm like, well, I'll protect you. Like, I'm not going to let anybody hurt you, you know? And so I move in with her. I leave the place that I'm at. I move in with her. And then same thing, still partying and drinking and stuff. I got hurt at work, and so I stopped smoking weed so I can get my job back when I was back over here. And in between that time, Xander was conceived. And so I'm a firm believer that marijuana is like a natural sterilizer. Like it'll stop you from having kids if you smoke too much.
Oh.
And I was smoking way too much, dabbing and smoking infused joints and whatever you name it, I'm doing it. It was justified in my head at the time because it was legal. So then Xander's conceived. I'm so happy. I'm like the most excited I've ever been. I picked Danae up and I spin her in a circle, and she's like, I didn't think you were going to react like that. And so then I started wondering, like, well, I don't know if this kid's really mine because we only been together for like a month and she hasn't had a period yet. And she's not on birth control. And so I started wondering. I asked her roommate, and he tells me, yeah, she was with other people right before you got here. And so I ask her, and she tells me, no, that's not true. And so then I hit up her ex-boyfriend, whose name is also Jesse. And
that's confusing.
Convenient and confusing. She just changes the body, not the name. But anyways, I asked him respectfully. I'm like, hey, I just want to know straight up, like, were you with Danae on these dates right before I showed up? And he's like, yeah, like, this is what it was. And I was like, thank you. And so then I let her know, like, I'll never trust you again. You just lied straight to my face. Like, you could have been honest, and now I can't trust you. And so I end up leaving again. I pack up all my stuff. I go back to Washington, back to the same house. The lady had a room available. So I rented the room out, started working in the union again, re-signed back up. And then I'm chilling in Olympia until Xander's born. And I'm working in Stellacombe. I'm working in Gig Harbor. I'm working in Ocean Shores, just doing all types of investment property jobs that were not my investment. I was just the worker. But so then I'm waiting it out. Like, I don't want to talk to her until I know for sure that that child is mine. And then if the child is mine, then I will step up and I'll be a parent. But as far as a relationship goes, I did not want to pursue a relationship with somebody I didn't trust. And so in between that time, I meet another lady who was the ID checker at the weed store. And I ask her out, and we start going out, and I find out she's married. And
Whoa. Then
she gets a divorce. And in between that time, I'm doing my mushroom thing. I love foraging for mushrooms. And so I find a big old mushroom on the side of the road. I take a video of it, and then boom, it blows up. It gets 20 million views.
I think I remember seeing that video.
Yeah.
While Josh was living in Puyallup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Jesse goes viral.
Yeah.
I go viral. I go viral occasionally. But
well, hopefully this goes viral.
Hey.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. So the mushroom video goes out. Then I have my birthday, and then a month later, Xander's born December 4th. And so I meet up with her ex-boyfriend because Danae isn't talking to me. She makes it very clear that she doesn't want me to be a part of his life, even if he is mine, because of how immature I was, which is valid. I was very immature and disrespectful to everybody. And so I meet up with him. We go buy some tests at CVS, some paternity tests, and then because he doesn't know either, he's scared, And so I'm like, don't tell her I'm coming because she's not going to let me in the house. Like, she hates me. And so he makes it seem like he's just going over there. And then I walk in right after him. And then her look on her face is like, like she turned white. But she was really cool about it. She let me hold him. And I knew as soon as I held him that he was my child because of how long he was. Like, the other Jesse isn't very tall, and this baby was like arm to arm. I was like, yeah, this is my son. Still did the test. Went to Florida for vacation, Christmas vacation. While I was in vacation, the test came back and I was the father. And so I decided that I was going to leave Jessica and move back to Coeur d'Alene again to be a father. And so I get an apartment at the same place I got the apartment last time, just a different like apartment number. And I knew the property manager. She was really cool with me. I went to school with her daughter. Her name's Jody, and it's Alex Smith's mom. Alex, remember Alex Smith? The blonde girl?
Oh. No.
No.
You'd have to show me
Nah.
a picture.
So we're figuring it out. Like, I'm taking her to see her family. I'm taking her anywhere she needs to go. She doesn't have a car. I had 2 cars at the time, so I'd let her drive my other one. And then, so then, like, her roommate really didn't like me, and her name's Elizabeth. Her roommate despises me. She thinks I'm a horrible person, which I was, so it's valid. But Elizabeth doesn't like me because she was dating my friend Joe, and Joe and her had a toxic relationship, and she was planning on moving out and taking his dog. And I overheard that while the girls were chit-chatting one day, and I told Joe, hey bro, watch your dog, like she's trying to snatch him up. And so like, she hates me for that. And so I think there's another thing she hates me for too, but I can't remember. Probably for something else. Anyways, she doesn't let me in the house. She doesn't want me in her house because they're roommates. And so, like, I let her know, you and I need to have a serious conversation, because you can't just stop me from seeing my son. If Danae wants me to be a father and I want to be a father, and you don't want me to be a father, so I should never be in my son's life? No. Like, we need to figure this out and be adults about it. Let's squash whatever beef we have so we can move forward. Anyway, she doesn't want me in the house. Her and I have a volatile conversation. I end up coming back that night and slashing her tires, or her tire.
Hey, yo.
And I got another charge for that. And I was doing drugs at the time. I was taking prescription pills and drinking and smoking. And so it's not an excuse, but it's a reality. And so I slash her tire and then go to bed, and I wake up and there's cops knocking on the door. And so I look through the peephole. I see it's the police officers. I see their cars outside. I'm like, yeah, I'm not answering it. And so they leave. And then when they leave, I got Danae a phone on my plan. And so, being really petty, I was like, yo, I want my effing phone back. Like, you're not going to let me see my kid. You guys are being bees. Like, I want my effing phone back. And so I go over there and I knock on the door. When I knock on the door, her roommate, Elizabeth, cocks a gun on the other side of the door. And when she cocked the gun, I just immediately started raging out, and I started kicking the door until it fell flat. And once it fell flat, I seen her there with the gun, and I walked up to it, and we're struggling for the gun. She pulls the trigger on it. It doesn't go off. And then I pull the gun out of her hand, and I throw it off the balcony into like this common area where the kids play and shit. And so she tries to stop me from going to the back room, and I push her onto the couch. I go back to the back room. My son's mother's hiding in the bathroom of the master bedroom. And I bang on the door and I say, where's the effing phone? She tells me it's in the bassinet. I tell her, you're lucky I don't kick this door down too. And then I grab the phone. My child's in there too. Like, this is not a good situation at all. And so while all that was happening, they were on the phone with 911. And so everything is recorded. The whole situation is recorded or voice. And so they're there before I even have a chance to leave. They're there, and they have a robbery in progress. It's me. And so I don't know this though. I'm walking downstairs to go get the gun, and like, I have my own gun. I didn't go up there with a gun. I didn't go up there to rob anybody. It wasn't my intention. It ended up happening because I didn't have control over my emotions. But I go and I grab the gun and I put it on the stairs. And then as soon as I put it on the stairs, I look up and there's a police officer right there, and he says my name, and he says, Jesse. And then I look at him, and then I just turn around and start running. So I run across the parking lot, and I'm booking it like the fastest I've ever ran in my whole life. And I jump into a trash can, the big dumpster, and there's no trash in it, of course. So I just hit the steel real hard.
Ow.
And I could hear dogs barking, and I hear hella sirens, bro. I'm like, oh, hell no, they're going to catch me in here. So I jump out of there, and I start running again, and I see them. They're everywhere. I'm surrounded. And so I get on my knees. They got their guns out. Put my hands behind my head. Same thing. They throw me in the car. They take me to jail. And the last time I was in jail was for my DUI, and I got out the same day. So I was like, oh yeah, this ain't nothing. I'm gonna be out of here by the end of the day, probably. No big deal. Just bail out. Anyways, they're like, yeah, no bond until you have your first appearance, which is like a week or something away. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting in the processing pod in a yellow jumpsuit, like starting to get scared. Like, oh, I might be doing some time. People are telling me like, yo, people get 5 to life for robbery. And that's what they were charging me with. And so they sit you in a big room with all the chairs facing it was after COVID, or it was during COVID. So they have the Zoom hearing, and you're sitting in there with a bunch of other inmates about to get their charges. They start reading my charges. They're like robbery, battery, burglary, domestic violence, obstructing justice, malicious injury to property. I'm like, what? How was all this that for kicking a door down? I was like, there's no way. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna beat this, no problem. And then the judge is like $150,000 bail. And I was like, what? No way. What the heck? And so I turned white, bro. Like I lost all the pigment in my skin. I turned white, like I was a ghost. And I went back in there terrified. I started calling people, yo, you gotta get me 10 G's so I can get out of here, or 15K. It's like 10% or something off the bail to get out. Mm-hmm. And so everyone's like, nah, we ain't got that. You're gonna have to stick that one out. I start fighting the case with my public defender. I don't have a leg to stand on. Yeah. I did what I did.
It was all recorded.
And it's all recorded.
Wow.
And it's like, I didn't know it was recorded until the very end. And I spent 10 months in county, like thinking I didn't do this, you know, like the charges, I know I did something wrong, but the charges aren't matching what I did. And my lawyer sits down with me and she's like, straight up, what you did is you took something from somebody's personal possession using fear of force. That's robbery. And if you get up on the stand and you keep denying it like that, they're going to break you off. And I denied every deal until my pretrial. And at my pretrial, I decided to change my plea. And so I changed my plea to guilty. And I took robbery, battery, domestic assault, and obstructing justice and malicious injury to property. Mm. At that point, I already served the time, the 10 months. I already served the time on the misdemeanors. So they kind of just like, I was charged with them, did the time. Those are done. But now I had to face the felonies. Mm. And so I've already apologized to her at this point. I write a letter, you know, not taking accountability. I created this story in my head where I went in there to try to protect my son. Mm. And that wasn't the case at all. Like my son was the last thing on my mind. I was enraged and I wanted my stuff. And so after I read my weak ass little sentencing statement where I was saying those things, the judge was like, yeah, I'm not buying that. And the prosecutor was asking for 15 years. They were asking for 8 plus 7. So 8 years fixed, 7 years parole. And I was asking for 2 years fixed, 5 years parole. Mm. And he met us in the middle at 4 and 3. And so I knew I was going to the big house. I got sentenced November 1st, 2021. My birthday was the next week. The boys in the pod threw me a birthday party. It was kind of cool. I had all types of commissary cupcakes, candy and stuff. And they made me little candles out of Chico sticks. So that was kind of cool. But when I was in county, I would write songs. I went to the hole when I was in county. I wasn't behaving. I was gambling, and I had a little store where I was storing out commissary and stuff.
Crazy,
and,
dude. Cool.
So,
little entrepreneur.
Yeah, so I was hustling in county and trying to make $1. And and so I go to the hole, and when I'm in the hole, I start writing music. And I was just like, I would just come up with little tunes in my head and then just start writing. And then, so they didn't let me back into regular GP because they knew I was a problem. they put me in this like smaller problem pod, but the problem pod was better than GP.
General population.
General population, yeah. And so the like solitary pod had a little day room, a little two metal benches with 4 chairs on them, and then there was a top tier and a bottom tier, and there was 3 cells on the bottom and 4 on the top. So there were 7 guys living there.
Wow.
And so me and 7 other guys, we would program, we'd just work out, play spades and cribbage and stuff.
Get to know each other.
Yeah, pretty well, because we're all going through it. We all have cases. A lot of the people in jail and prison have drug addiction problems. Mm-hmm. And so most of them are facing charges like that, but there are other violent offenders as well. So I don't know where I was going. Oh yeah, I was writing the music in there. And so then they let me back out to GP, and I have like a stack of papers that I wrote, of things that I wrote with little tunes that I made up. And so then I get back to GP and I'm like, hey, you guys want to hear a little song I wrote?
Hey, yo.
And so I think lights out was like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or something. So the cops would come through, they'd shut the lights off, and then I would go out into the day room, and then I would start singing my songs. And one of them is the Hayden Creek song. And everybody, I had a list of songs, and the guys would come through and they'd be like, let's hear that one. Let's hear that one. And then
cool.
Like by the time I was out of there, everybody was singing my songs. It was super cool. Like some people didn't like them. Don't get me wrong. Like to each their own, but there was a lot of people that did like them.
Were you rapping, or was there instruments?
No, just my voice, just singing and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
dude.
Singing to 100 people in a pod.
That's awesome.
Throwing on little concerts and stuff. It got to the point where like the cops would let me do it. They're just like everybody has to be bunked up at that time, but they would let me do my songs. It would soothe people in those times, you know. Like it was hard times for a lot of people. They were going to prison.
Cool,
they were away
dude.
from their family and their kids, and like the music, we don't have music in there in county. And so my music was the only way for them to actually like touch in with their emotions, you know? And so I realized then that I was like, okay, well, I got a little something here. Like this might be something I might be able to do something with this later in life. Anyway, so I go to prison, I go to processing. They send me up to Orofino. And as soon as I get to Orofino, I do a little 2-week COVID lockdown thing. They let me out into GP. I get into GP. My celly's a tattoo artist. He comes straight up to me. He's like, if you're a rat, just let me know right now, dog. And I was like, I'm not a dog. What's up? I want to get inked. And so we took one of the images that I drew, because I was drawing too at the time. And he stamped it on my leg and tattooed it. It's this one right here.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah, so
it's huge.
It was an image that I drew, and he tattooed that on me.
It's probably done with like a pen in prison.
Yeah, pretty much. It's so I'll get into how we make tattoo guns too. But so I'm in GP, right? They don't give you fruit in county. And so I make me a little fruit salad. I'm in prison now. I got fruit. And so I have this little bowl. I made like apples, bananas, oranges, and some grapes and stuff. And I didn't eat it all. I ate like half of it. So I put the other half on I had my cell with my celly. So I put mine, I was on the top bunk. I put it up on my shelf. They called dinner, come out to dinner, get my dinner, do my little lap, grab the dinner. And I'm sitting there eating my dinner, and an officer does a cell check. Like they randomly do cell checks to make sure people don't have contraband.
Right. So
they go up in there. He comes out with the bowl of fruit, and he's like, "What's this?" And me and my celly were freaking out right before that. He's like, I was like, "You don't think he's going to say anything about the fruit, do you?" He's like, "No fucking way." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "We're fucked." And so he comes out with the fruit.
No way.
He asks me about it. I tell him straight up, "Yeah, that's my little fruit salad that I made. I'm going to eat it later." He's like, "Okay." And he leaves. Emergency situation, lockdown. And so everybody has to go to their cells and cell up. Oh my gosh. The whole prison, Orofino prison, is shut down because I have a fucking fruit salad. And I'm like, this is so stupid. So they're like, all right, hands. We had these little bean slots. That's what they feed you through when you're locked down. Anyways, it's also where you put your arms through like that to get cuffed up. And so they're like, back up to the door and put your arms through the bean slot. And so I do that. They cuff me up. They're like, all right, now step away from the door. And then step away from the door. They pull me out, and then they bring me over to the hole, basically solitaire. And so I'm sitting in the hole like, no freaking way. And they're like, here's a Class A DOR for attempting to make alcohol in a secured facility. And I was like, attempting to make alcohol? It's a fruit salad. And so anyways, I sat in the hole for a month fighting this thing, appealing it. And Class A DOR is 20 points on top of your points. And I already had 11 points because of my crime. I'm a violent offender, so I had 11 points.
Whoa.
And so now I have 31 points. And so you're going to maximum security. And so I go to freaking, I'm still writing music because I'm in the hole now again. And so I'm writing music again. I'm having fun with myself, just effing off the day.
Might as well.
And we have these vents in there, right? And so everybody else that's in the hole, you can talk to them. And so I'm just standing up on my shelf talking in the vent. Hey, you want to hear this thing that I wrote? And then so, anyways, it's like Christmas, bro. And I remember this officer. There's a dog program at that prison. I remember this officer brought me a dog on Christmas and let me pet it through the bean slot, which was really cool. I'll never forget her for that. And so then they send me back down south to the Boise facility, and they send me to maximum security. It's called G Block over there. And so I get to G Block, same thing. I'm writing music. I get a really cool cellie. His name's Devin Dale. And eventually, so let me tell you about maximum security. You're only allowed out of your cell once a day for the day room and once a day for rec. Now, this was the COVID times, and they wouldn't let us out a lot because they lacked the staff. And so in that hour, you have time to shower, make your phone calls, order your commissary, and work out with your workout partners. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm doing my program. It's on a 4-day schedule. First day you get out, second day you get out, third day you get out, fourth day you don't get out of your cell. And so that's called your dark day. And so I do 10 months in the hole like that. And so the cell is smaller than this room. There's a toilet in it that is also a sink. You have a little shelf and then your bunks. Now I'm living good because I got locked up with some money. Like I had my stimulus checks and I had my paychecks. And so I bought all the stuff that I needed for prison. I had my own TV and tablet and all that.
They let you do that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you can just buy it off commissary. It's like $300 for a TV this big. But
I mean, it's not like you can fit a big TV in there.
Right. But it's so worth it, bro.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I don't know how many hours of TV I watched and how much I slept, but a lot. Like half of the time I was in there, I slept. So I really only did 2 years.
There you go.
Gotcha. But anyways, so G Block's cool. Like there's some gangsters in there. Like it's maximum security. There's some murderers, there's some rapists, there's like everything you can think of. No, I didn't get raped. That's the famous.
You didn't drop the soap?
No, I've dropped the soap many times, but I didn't get raped for it.
You bent over and everything?
Yeah.
I was thinking my strategy would just be to squat down rather than bend
and
over.
Pick it up with your butt cheeks?
Yeah, that would work. Just gotta make sure I'm picking up the soap bar or not.
Yeah.
Shoot.
No, so then let me tell you about one situation in G Block. So there's solid walks and there's hard walks. Or no, sorry, there's soft walks and hard walks. And I was on a soft walk because anybody that goes up to the Orofino prison is automatically deemed soft, no good. And so in order to become good, you have to take off on somebody. You have to put in a piece. And so if I want to go hang with the gangsters, the real gangsters, then I have to go beat somebody up in front of everybody until the cops come and pull me off of them. And obviously I'm not going to do that because I'm a violent offender and I don't want to stay in prison any longer than I need to. And so anyways, there's a fence in between the two rec yards. There's the weight pile and then there's the handball court. And so the hard walk dudes are already out at the weight pile. And here comes us, the soft walk, to go to the handball court. And there's a little gate, there's a little door that opens. but usually it's locked. I guess it wasn't. Anyways, my friend from county, his name's Stewie. He comes over. He calls me over to the gate. He's like, "Yo, Jesse." And I was like, "What's up, bro? How are you?" And he's like, "You better back my fucking homeboy up, dog." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, what are you talking about? And I turn around and everybody's fighting. And I was like, what the heck? And I guess there's a trash can there. It was flipped upside down. I guess somebody was hiding in the trash can, popped out, started taking off on people. Well, he ended up getting beat up because there was more of us than him. But anyways, I got into a few fights in there. People were calling me out my name, being disrespectful. I didn't get beat up, but I did break a rib, and I had a black eye for a while, but I hid it with my hat and some glasses. But yeah, so in Max, in G Block, one of the tattoo artists on the walk, his cell was opening up. A dude was getting out to GP. And so I was like, "Yo, I want to be your cellie. Like, I'll make sure we eat. Just tap me up, dog." And so this is how we make the tattoo guns.
Okay.
So you could buy these beard trimmers off commissary, right? You take them, you smash them on the ground till the motor pops out. You take the motor.
They let you do that?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
But we do it. And they know what's happening too. And they give you Class B DORs, which is 7 points, I think. But I didn't get any of those. Anyways, you take the motor, you attach it to a spoon, you clear out a pin, you take a spring from a hairspray bottle, you roll it on the ground until it's until it's nice and sharp. Like on the concrete, you're just rolling it for like 20, 30 minutes until it's sharp. And then we would use barber saw from the barbers. We would ask them for little vials of barber saw, and we would sterilize our needles and stuff with it. And so that's how you make your machine. You wrap it up with saran wrap and stuff, so it's nice and tight. And to make soot, you have to take commissary baby oil or whatever it was, aloe vera oil or something. Anyways, you take that, you put it in a soap dish, you take a toenail clipper, you flip it upside down, you take a piece of toilet paper, you roll it up, put it inside the little slit for the toenail clipper to attach onto the other piece of the toenail clipper. Anyways, you slip that in there, you make a wick, right? And then you pour the oil into the soap dish. Then you take a paper bag and you cut like 1.5 inches up on the sides of it, on the corners, and then you fold it up so it sits upright and it's got like a little platform, right? And so then you go over to your outlet and you take a bread tie and a pencil and a piece of paper, and you touch the bread tie to the pencil and you get it to spark, and boom, you catch your piece of toilet paper on fire. You set your wick on fire, and then you put your paper bag over it, and you take toilet paper and you wrap it all around the platform so that way it's sealed tight so the smoke doesn't get out. Anyways, we call it a candle. You light a candle for a few hours, like 5 or 6 hours, and you have it. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy, dude.
And so
you're doing this all under the cops' noses?
Yeah.
I guess how often do they check?
Once an hour they walk. We know when they're walking, so we make sure as soon as that officer walks, I'm getting to work, you know? And so you light your candle, you have it tucked as far away from the window so they can't see in, because the window's only this big, you know? They come in, they look, they walk. They're not really tripping. So anyways, you light your candle.
You think there'd be a camera in every cell?
No. I think a lot of prisons are like that, but not this one. In the day room there is, but not in the cells.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you scrape the soot out the bag. You stomp it through some paper to absorb the oil out of it. You get it to a powder. You put it in these insent bottles that are empty. You just add water and a rock, and you just shake it up until it's consistent, and then you have ink. And so now we have our tattoo gun and we have ink. Now all we need is a piece of a t-shirt for wiping and a stencil. And so the guy that I was in the cell with, he would just draw on me, bro. Like, I have this portrait of my cat on my arm.
Yeah.
And he looked at the image and drew it on me and then started tattooing it.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then like same with my chest piece. he looked at the image that he wanted to do and he just marked it out on me. And then he just started going to town, bro. And I got like 100 hours of tattooing in there.
That's a lot.
It takes a lot longer.
Did you tattoo anybody in there?
Allegedly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. I
Word on the street.
I could draw at that point. I wanted a picture of Xander, and so I asked somebody to draw me a portrait, and I just wasn't happy with it. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself. And so the first portrait I drew of him looked like a little monkey, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And I was just determined. I didn't give up. I was like, I'm gonna keep drawing and drawing and drawing and drawing until I get good at it. And then I started telling people, hey, I'll draw pictures of your loved ones. If you want to throw me a couple soups or whatever, that's cool. Like ramens. We call ramen soups, even though they're not soup. But anyways, I started getting really good at drawing. And I realized I was able to make money off of it. And I did do a couple tattoos. I tried it out. I wasn't comfortable in there doing it just because, one, I didn't want to get in trouble, even though I was getting tattooed. It was worth the risk. At the same time, it's not. So yeah, then they let me out to GP after 10 months. In the hole, I get to GP. There's this big black dude named Jermaine. He's out here punking everybody out on the tier, bro.
Hey,
everybody's Jermaine's bitch. And I get to the pod, and I already knew right off the bat. I was like, oh no, I'm having a problem with this dude eventually. I know it. And Jermaine like doesn't press up on me, and eventually he does. And when he does, he says, I'll fucking fight you over this shit. And I was like, all right then, dog, let's do it. And so I fought him. After I fought him, I gained his respect, and he gained mine. And we were cordial. And he stopped punking people out. He stopped bullying people, which was cool. He probably started bullying people again after I left. But yeah, so I'm in GP for another 10 months in ICC. Then my points drop to minimum. After a certain point in your incarceration, you're allowed to go to a work camp, so you can start making money as a minimum security inmate. So they ship me back up to Orofino. I do a month in Orofino, and this is where I'm able to get into the studio. They have a music room up there. I meet a guy, his name's Garrett Bruna, and he's making little beats on FL Studios.
Oh, cool.
And I do the requirements that are required to get into the studio and the little classes they had. And we start making music. It was super fun. I wasn't able to make much because I only had a month in there. And then they rolled me up to go to the minimum facility. So then I'm at the Givens Hall work camp for like another 10 months or something, just doing my classes. I'm doing an anger management class. I'm doing a thinking for a change, a substance abuse class all at once.
Wow.
I was in the dog program as well. I got a 3-legged Rottweiler named Judy, and that was super cool. And this whole time I was putting in to go to a reentry center, which was where I was at most recently. And so violent offenders aren't allowed at reentry centers. It's in like the SOPs. And so I'm asking for an exception. I keep asking, I'm asking. Eventually this guy named Colt White ends up going to the CRC, same one I was trying to go to. And the day before he leaves, I throw him a spread. A spread is where we take a bunch of food and we mix it together into some crap, but it tastes delicious. But you've had it. I made him
prison goulash.
Yeah, I made him a prison.
It's pretty
burrito.
good.
Yeah.
Me and the girls like it.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a little bit upstairs if you want to try some.
I would love to. That would be awesome.
Quite a few ingredients I probably wouldn't eat just by themselves. But
Yeah.
together.
Do you know all the ingredients?
Yeah. Usually I take rice, beans, hot Cheetos, sausage, pork rinds. Just mix it all up.
All right.
Throw it in a burrito.
Yeah.
Throw it in a tortilla, make a burrito. Oh, another thing we would do to enhance those burritos, bro, we would take our hot pots.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a little hot pot that just heats up water. It has like this like base that heats up the plastic or some shit. And
right.
I don't know what it is, but anyways, you take that and you throw it on the ground as hard as you can multiple times until it breaks open. And then it's got this little pan in it. Well, this pan is like a little sauteer. So you take the sauteer and you put butter on your tortillas, you plug it in and you just I'm cooking in the pod, dog.
You're like Bill Nye, dude.
It was a trip. It was such a trip. Prison was crazy.
Bill Nye, the prison guy.
Bill.
Yeah. What's crazy is like all these things were so normal. In there.
Yeah.
And there it was so normal. Everybody's doing it and it's normal. You know?
Because you might as well. There's nothing better to do.
Yeah, I mean, but you can get in trouble for all those things. And we know that, but the cops ain't really jamming you up for stuff like that. They want to see people get out. So they're really only trying to jam people up for fights and drugs and stuff. So yeah, I'm at the Givens Hall Work Center. Colt White goes down to the CRC. I send him with a note to the manager there. And next thing I know, the next week I'm on the bus. And so this is like my 5th time on that freaking bus. And the bus sucks, dude. You get on the bus, they put you in an orange jumpsuit. And they shackle your ankles and they shackle your arms to your waist. And it's a 7-hour drive every time. And so by the time you get out, your wrists are all bruised and indented from the cuffs. But no pity, please, no pity, because like this is a situation that I put myself in. And without all these consequences and negative experiences, there would be nothing to prevent me from misbehaving in the future. So this is a deterrent, so I don't go back to prison and I stay behaving. So anyways, I get to the work center. It's the land of the milk and honey. People are wearing street clothes. We got whatever we want, dude. People got cell phones. I'm like, what the heck? This is so cool. They're like, yeah, go ahead, get a job in the community. And I have 1 year left. And so I did 3 years at this point. And so it's my last year, and I'm like, all right, well, I start to be able to save some money now. And so I find this job with my friend Mark at this like DOT compliance sales thing. I get there and I don't feel good about it, like calling people and telling them to give me their credit card. It just didn't feel right. And so I quit that job. I went back to the center that day. They picked me up, but there's a van that goes around and picks people up. And drops them off at work. But I get back and I asked the program manager, she's walking by, it's like, Amy, how come I can't be a tattoo artist? And in the rules it says you can't be a tattoo artist. And she's like, I never told you couldn't. And I was like, what?
Oh.
She's like, yeah, I never said you couldn't. What's stopping you? And I was like, I thought it was a rule. She's like, well, if you can figure it out, figure it out. And so she's like, but you still have to have a job. And so that day I put in these little trip slips to go to tattoo parlors around town, tattoo shops. First one I went to, I stood there for like 10 minutes, nobody around. And eventually I walked to the back and I was like, yo, you guys doing apprenticeships? Like I brought some artwork. They're like, nah, sorry, bro, not right now. So I hop back in the van, we go to the next shop. And with that one, the owner wasn't there. And so I showed him my portfolio. He took pictures of it, never heard anything back. But I left and then went to one more tattoo shop. And when I stopped there, there was a guy named Colby there. And he was one of the tattoo artists at the time. And he's from California. And so we vibed immediately. We were just like, yo, hook a brother up, you know? And so he calls the shop owner, Chris Jansen, and he's like, yo, I got this dude in here. He wants to apprentice here. He's at the prison. Like, so, and then Chris is like, what's his charges? That's a thing. Like, if you're a sex offender or like a rat or something, people don't really want you around. And so, I told him I'm solid. Like, I never told on anybody. I got good charges. I'm not a sex offender. And
good charges.
Yeah, dude. Good charges.
Good charges
Relatively.
in prison, bro.
Yeah. So I got good charges. Anyways, he says, yeah, you can start coming through. So now I'm in prison, tattooing and working all at the same time. And so Monday through Friday, I'm going to my painting job at Northwest Building Systems. I meet some really cool people there. I make a flyer. Part of my tattoo requirement was to do 50 free tattoos. And so I make a flyer saying, yo, come get some free tattoos by me, And some people were like, yeah, sure, And then they seen some of the work I was putting out. And by the time it was time for them to ask me, I was already booked. Like I had my 50 booked. Josh came by and got some too. And so
I remember
Josh came and seen me there. He came and seen me at the prison. He came and seen me at when I was in GP too, when I was in Scrubs. And I
remember all that.
Yeah, it just really goes to show like I have a really good friend here that is very supportive and wants to see me succeed. And I have a lot of other people like that in my life, but like he's like my brother, and it's like he's helping me save myself from myself. And so thank you.
Thank God, man. God is good.
Amen. I want to mention, you said that it was your third time, or the third trip to the tattoo parlor, right? It was the third one, right?
It was the third one that took it, yeah.
It's really cool because you mentioned then, like, right after that, I feel like after that, based off of your story, it's like where things have gone upwards.
Yeah.
3 in the Bible means completeness and new life. It's really cool. That has definitely, the number 3 has been a big significant number in my life, especially when it comes to my testimony and when I finally found Christ. There's 3 rainbows. It's a whole story, but it means completeness and new life. So it's like after that, then that's when, it's so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's whether you know it or not, I want to ask you about it actually, but God's working in all of our lives. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you at spiritually, if anywhere at all?
So I didn't grow up in a religious household. I never experienced it until I met my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom started taking me to church, and I just wasn't buying it. And I didn't want to go to church. I couldn't get into it. And then there was a point where I did start to believe when Josh and I were teenagers, and we drove home from a party one day, and a cop followed us all the way home and didn't pull us over. Like, he followed us for a while. And I remember sitting in the car with Josh, like, thinking that was God, there's no way we just made it without.
Even when we were walking in, he even rolled down his window and was like, hey, you can't park that way.
Yeah.
I parked the wrong way. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll move it.
Yeah.
And I got in and I flipped it around. Dude, God protected us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't deserve it, but
yeah, when I went, when I was in county too, I think I started fake believing, because I was like, well, if I believe in you, will you let me off? That type deal. And eventually, throughout my next few years, I decided that, there's too many religions and too many gods and too many man-made things and books and all these things for me to believe that any one of them is true and correct.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I don't actively search for my spirituality. I'm just working on myself.
Yeah.
Maybe later in life there might be some adventuring and digging around. But for now, I'm really content on not believing anything or caring if it exists or not. It doesn't trouble me. I have a hard time believing that one thing is true if there's so many other options,
Yeah, no, for sure. Growing up, I was never really fully sold in on it, just because of my dad. I don't know how much you know about the brokenness that was still in our family at the time.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm sure Josh and Jeremiah have updated you on it.
Yeah.
Caleb too, probably.
Yeah.
Have you met our dad now? Because
he's
been down here.
Restoration, dude.
What?
Brokenness, restoration.
Amen. Yeah.
There's restoration happening.
So true. Happening right now. It's really cool, actually.
He came over for Thanksgiving.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, it was really good to see him. I was like, look at you. And he was funny.
Oh yeah, he's
like
funny.
I don't remember him being that funny. I also never like really had too many interactions with your father,
Mm-hmm.
like very minimal. But like as an adult now, I feel like I can just joke around and laugh with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
he's a good person.
Have you? Is he coming for Christmas?
Yeah, probably.
Cool. Yeah. Um. Cool, dude. All right. Yeah, because growing up then with my father, he was a pastor, right?
Yeah,
But so he claimed to represent Christ, and then my mom also did. So those were two contradicting things growing up because I felt love from one of them but not the other,
Mhm.
right? Um, and so just going through high school, middle school, I would attend youth group and all that, just kind of out of respect for my mama. My dad was out of the picture at that point, so it was just kind of I called myself a Christian. I never lived it, you know.
yeah,
Then after high school happened, um, it was probably the roughest time of my life. Nothing, it's really not that crazy. I was just super lonely. My girlfriend and I broke up after I turned into a narcissist, and I just kind of wasted my life away for like 2 years. I did YouTube, but very inconsistently. Um, and I got absorbed into conspiracy theories. This is like a super fast paced
Why do you think that
my
you're
life.
wasting it?
I was wasting it because I wasn't doing anything meaningful.
What's meaningful?
What's meaningful is serving the Lord, serving God.
Yeah, but if you're experiencing that wastefulness, now you know what that is and to not be stagnant. And so
Yeah,
it's for a reason. It's
I just I don't believe anymore that there is any growth without God.
hmm,
I think most of that is an illusion. I think you're able to grow in your pride, but I think God calls us to humble ourselves
yeah,
rather, to serve and work through gratitude rather than through a need to be self-reliant,
right.
right? Because there is a generous God that loves us and wants to give us all things. It's just up to us to accept that and accept that in graciousness
Yeah,
and say thank you, right? And then through that gratitude and that love for him because he's providing for me, I want to do stuff. And then because of the whole idea of eternity, if there is nothing, if I do my own will instead of his,
hmm,
it'll pass away. Whatever I do will pass away with me and be forgotten,
right.
therefore meaningless. It may be fun in the moment,
Hmm.
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think like I'm on the same page, but except serving a God.
Yeah.
So my thing is like I have a lot of the same morals and values that are in the Bible and that Christians and Catholics and
Yeah.
Jewish
It's
and
very American culture.
right. And
Mhm.
so all the values that are good, like I believe in those, and those are things that we should live by. We should be good people. We should
Yeah.
selfless serve. We should be honest. We should be loyal. We should, all those great things, but without the uh, entity attached to it.
Mhm.
So it's like I can still believe in all the greatness that's in the Bible and other books that were written based off love.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I totally agree, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I can get into it deeper of why it felt like a waste, or even in the moment, it was full of lack of joy. I was probably depressed. I've always been very reluctant to say I was depressed, just because up to that point I've never been depressed. I don't know. It's I was definitely sad
Yeah.
during the time.
We just had a breakup.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was okay. So high school happened. I had this cool relationship going. Then I began six. After I graduated, I think the relationship lasted another 6 months, something like that. We ended up breaking up because my friends moved down to Moscow to go to college, and so all of a sudden I had nobody up north other than my girlfriend, right? So then she became my entire social life. And I put that responsibility on her, and that immediately caused a lot of friction. Even my relationship with God, because I was still holding the title of being a Christian, you could see the Holy Spirit in her. She was, what are you doing, brother?
Oh, I gotta go read to the girls and put them to bed.
Okay, yeah, feel free to do that. No, you're good, dude. Make all the noise. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, cut this out.
Yeah,
Sick, though.
yeah.
You can cut that out.
I can cut anything out.
Hey.
It's not live.
If you hear the door
It
stop talking, pause, and reset. start.
Yeah, we'll stop talking. Yeah, so I'm at this point now where I remember I was making all of my problems her problem, including spiritually, where I wasn't doing anything to grow closer to God because I didn't really want to. You know, it wasn't on my priority list. It was God was far away from anything I wanted to do with, right? Because anytime he kind of was brought up, I felt really guilty, and it was scary. I guess there was that conviction, you know, which is definitely kind of what I grew up in, which is probably why I continue to resist it. Just because my dad would, I never felt love around my dad. I felt fear, you know, because he would point out stuff, the holier than thou kind of mentality, you know. Yeah. No, not. I don't want to insult my dad. I love him. He's forgiven. I need to reiterate that. I have been. It's been so much joy in our family to see where he's at now and how he's been growing. It's been really cool. But at the time, especially, so I put my relationship with God on her. She wanted me to grow closer to God, and I kind of made that her problem, I guess, to deal with, right? So I made everything onto her problem, and I called victim on all of it when it wasn't going my way, which then made it more of her problem, and that eventually led to us breaking up. I actually went into breaking up with her thinking I needed to break up with her because she wasn't doing enough, right? And then after we broke up, so it was like a quote unquote mutual thing,
right?
I remember as soon as we did it, I no longer could come up with a reason in my head on why we just did that. And it's as if like the illusion rather,
right,
just disappeared all of a sudden. The lies were just gone, and I couldn't figure out what just happened.
right.
I remember screaming in my car on my way home, just screaming, why? Why did that just happen? What did I just do?
Right.
Right?
Been there, bro.
Yeah, it was very confusing. And then, so all of a sudden now I'm just sad, super sad, because I'm missing her, right? I want her back, because I'm like, I just threw away the perfect girl.
You can't unsay the things that you said.
Yeah. So, 2 years then, so I have no friends. I'm alone in my room. Bless my mom's heart. She has a heart to enable. So I just kind of sat in my room alone, did nothing. I had my YouTube, but that means I had no coworkers. You know, I just stayed like I was a little shrimp in my room doing nothing. You know, I was a little internet.
You're a lobster, dog. You ain't no shrimp.
Yeah, man. And at the time, looking for something greater than myself, I kind of got really into conspiracy theories. Especially growing up, my brothers got me super into it. Just Josh and Caleb, right? We grew up with our dad being a strong authority figure, and after he was out of the picture, all of a sudden we all had to figure out, like, okay, so what he was showing us as an example of what a man is was clearly incorrect. So we then, through my older brothers, we had a lack of trust for authority figures, whether it be our father or even the government, right?
What is a man, though?
What is a man?
Yeah.
So I personally don't believe anymore that you can be a man if you're not a man of God. And so let me explain what that is. So basically, Jesus being the example of that God put forth for us to see and figure out what that is. Basically, it is to love. And what is there? Love is interesting because I don't think it exists without God, because it's full self-servitude with no expectations of any gain, right? It's what Jesus did for us. We fully did not deserve any of it, yet he died on the cross for us. The same way then how I can do something nice for somebody behind closed doors and not expect a thank you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever know about it.
Or have to show the public, yeah.
Right. It's the same thing where I'll do things behind closed doors just with God and I. Be like, God, this is for you.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same way I can do that for somebody else. I don't know. It's so what does it mean to be a man? Being a man is to serve others in a godly manner. I think. That's kind of the basic, the most like far down I could sum it up, I guess.
Yeah.
There's a lot then that encompasses that and how you act and how you decide to grow from that. But
the unchristian version is to serve God, or not serve God, serve others with love.
Yeah. Yeah,
in a loving manner.
it would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
To kind of reflect that image of what Christians believe God to be.
Do you think that there's any correlation between the words good and God and devil and evil?
Yeah, so that's really interesting because if God is fully good, welcome Josh. Pause, dude. I'm still paused.
I'm pausing so hard right now.
I'm pausing harder than ever. Okay, so the question was a relationship between good and God and evil and Satan, pretty much.
Yeah.
Cool. So
No, devil specifically, because the word evil is in devil and the word God is in good.
Ooh, that's cool.
That's why I'm so like dumbfounded about it. There's got to be a reason.
Well, English itself derives from like Anglo-Saxon stuff and things, right? And Latin.
Stuff and things.
I don't know.
I just like the way you put that.
I'm talking out of my butt a little bit, but you know, it kind of makes sense because that would have been European. So Europeans have been mainly Christian throughout history, except for like the Dark Ages when Islam was all up in there, and then the Crusades happened. So that makes sense where the language then would reflect that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Super cool. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough that I don't know any of that.
I don't know if you've ever realized that, but I realized it one day. I was like, what the heck?
But yeah, I don't believe there's any good outside of God. And why there's any good in the world is because creation initially reflects God's goodness. God in the Bible, I believe, based off my research, the only thing that he calls directly good is in Genesis when he makes the world before the fall. He says it's good. It's super cool because it reflects his own image and his goodness, right? And then the word evil is actually interesting because what is evil? Is it just something that makes people feel bad? Is it just something that, I don't know. Basically, based off my research that I did, it was a pretty fun night. Evil then, because deeming like what is good, good is what reflects God because God is good. He deems the standard for good. Then evil is a distortion of that. So when the fall happened, we still reflect God's image, but now we're tainted. It's like a shiny puddle turns into a muddy puddle kind of thing, right? So this world still has pleasures and good things, right? But now it's all tainted, and ultimately, then Satan or the devil would be evil because he goes against what God is. He destroys God because he hates God, right? I don't know if that makes sense or if that answered the question right.
No, it does.
Maybe Josh has some input on that.
It's hard to make sense of things that are religious based because, like when people are talking about it, it's hard because my mind immediately puts up a wall and says, okay, well, we have to swap God with this word. We have to, because like I'm so against believing it that, like I have to redo the words in my head. Like the sentences, I have to take God out and put, okay, well, he means love or he means goodness, and
well, right. Yeah.
And like I understand that you believe those things and I respect that. But I have to translate it in my head. So it can get a little confusing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I get it, like I get it from your point, but like me personally, I still believe that goodness is good and bad things are bad, but I just don't believe that there's an entity tied to it or
Well, so you believe it to be more subjective.
Yeah, because people doing bad things can believe that they're good.
Yeah, right.
They're for the greater good.
Right.
Like people that shoot up schools, like they think they're doing the world a justice by removing more people off the planet for whatever reason. The planet needs less people,
Yeah.
Or like when somebody kills another person because they are getting revenge for something that they did, they did something good for their family or their gang or whatever it is. They believe that that's good, even though you and I both know that that's not good because somebody just lost a life,
Yeah. Now,
so it is subjective.
You are bringing up a really interesting argument for God or against God, I guess, depending on what you believe with it. But it's the issue of morality. I don't want to try and convince you of God. So if you don't want to talk about it, we're totally chill. But you know, what? Oh.
Just a.
This isn't my podcast.
You know, do you want to hear the argument at least?
Yeah, I'm open to it.
Okay, let me try and figure it out in my head. Okay, so basically, it all derives from the idea that whatever you deem as good, it doesn't matter because it's subjective. So I can go rape and pillage, I can go kill your wife and kids, but because I think that's good, it's in my culture, then who are you to say it's bad, right?
Exactly.
So then there is no, if it's all subjective, then how could you ever call anything good or know what you're working towards, I guess, right? You can never be higher than anybody or any, I'm saying it wrong. I'm definitely messing that up.
So I took a moral class. It's moral recognition therapy.
There's no justice, I guess. Or then for us, it's more like none of us are capable of good. So then God has to be the only good one, pretty much.
Well, the justice is in the laws. And so when laws are broken.
Deemed by who?
By the state and the federal government.
Other people.
Through people who have, through hundreds of years, decided and voted for these things to be in place because the mass majority believes that they are wrong or correct.
Yeah.
And so I learned that in class because like I used to be against the law. I'm going to do whatever I want. And when I had that class, I realized, okay, well, society believes that this is wrong or society believes this is good. And that's why I need to obey it.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
To both of you?
Yes.
What is truth?
Right. Okay, I can go for it.
Left.
Left?
Left? He said right, I said left. What is truth? Being correct, being honest.
Being correct, being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think being honest is definitely a part of it because you can talk about, well, yeah. Being correct, though, I mean, yeah, if you're being truthful, you would be correct. But then it comes down to, well, are you actually correct in what you're saying? How do you know it's truth?
I guess where I'm going with that is if you're being subjective and if your feelings have a lot to do with it, then that means that you buy into the whole my truth, your truth thing. And like you were saying, how you could justify, well, I got to feed my family, so it's right for me. It's okay for me to go and take from this other person. Well, okay, that's against the laws, which have been formed by society. But if you look at all of history, there's a core set of laws that have been put in place, and those do shift based on cultures. But just because a law is in place doesn't make it true, right? Like there's a lot of laws that I don't agree with. I'm sure there's a lot of laws you don't agree with. So just because society
lot?
Well, based on what I just heard from you, no idea you went to prison, dude. No idea. I'm just kidding. Like, just because it's called group norms, you know? It's basically because everyone else around you believes it or thinks it. It like validates in your head that it's true. When in reality, it doesn't necessarily do that. So the real question is, what is truth? Because real truth is what you found sound laws on. Laws that the next administration that comes in, they're not going to just undo it because they're like, yeah, there's a phony law that you put in place, right? It's not founded on truth. So I think when it comes to, I don't like religion either, but I think with this question, this topic, it's not like what is out there. It's more of like, what do you believe is truth?
Yeah.
And what are you
putting that on? What is your foundation in that
what
belief?
do you trust?
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, the only person you could ever prove to even be conscious is yourself. You know, about that whole philosophy paradox. It's like nobody else can even be real. So like the only consciousness that you're aware that is actually even a thing is your own. And even then, you know about like the Thursday theory, where it's like the universe just started last Thursday and whatever created it, you just spawned in with your memories. None of it actually happened.
I've never heard that one.
It's pretty fun, yeah.
I think that I believe other people have consciousness. Like obviously guys are cognitive.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, but you can't prove that
Are not a robot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you probably.
Kind of look
If
like
I
one.
cut you and you bleed, you're not a
Really
robot.
handsome one.
I mean, if you cut me open, I bleed, but you know that doesn't mean I actually have anything going on in the head.
Yeah,
You know, you don't know if I'm real or not.
I do.
I appreciate that.
I know you're a real person.
Thank you.
Your
Yeah,
name's-
I don't
name's in
question
the
it.
Bible, so.
There's been
So
times.
true.
There's
So-
been times
well,
where
yeah.
I didn't know if other people.
But
were
how do
real.
you know though? Why
Because
can you
I'm
trust that I'm
sober.
also a
Because I'm
consciousness?
sober and I
Crazy.
yeah.
Oh, well, like okay, you've done a lot of hallucinogenics, right?
Yeah.
I have this crazy theory with it makes sense in my worldview. I want to hear what you have to think about it. Where basically when you're tripping out balls,
Mhm.
it's your brain trying to understand the spiritual realm, which is why your physical brain can't comprehend it. It's either in like the fourth dimension or whatever. So your brain then is trying to fill in all this random nonsense, and it just creates this trip.
Have you done
No, I have no idea.
it? You should.
I don't think I will. I think I'm pretty firm now in the idea that the Bible says to keep a sober mind.
Mhm.
That's simply not to. It's simply just to protect us, I think,
Yeah.
because I believe in the spiritual realm, spiritual warfare, and I think being in a vulnerable state like that, I will be taken advantage of.
Yeah. By
Yeah.
who?
What?
By who?
By demons?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've done my fair share of hallucinogenics, and every time I do them, I do a ridiculous amount, and I'm usually physically paralyzed, and I can't move, and my mind is just going off into the realms, and then you'll snap back to reality.
Like when you say the realms, what does that mean?
So usually I close my eyes, and it's like a dream state. I describe it as like a trippy dream.
Right.
Like you're
Right, because your dreams are DMT
yeah.
releasing in your brain.
And
So
yeah, that's basically where you go for hours, and you come back, and then you go back out for 30 minutes, and you come back and you go back out.
oh, wild.
And you come back and you're like, and then so you have this like this realization when you're finally done and it's starting to wear off. You're like, you feel one with the world, and you feel replenished and revived and clean, and all the bad things are gone. Like there's a lot of fear that's going on while you're out there, or at least when I was. And
Yeah, that makes so much sense to me.
when you come back, you're like, there's nothing to be afraid of. Like the world is so beautiful. I love this planet. Like you just want to go put your feet in the grass after you come back. And
Man,
yeah, it's amazing.
that's so cool. So I have a lot of thoughts on that, especially when it comes to the feeling of relief, even,
Yeah.
if that's a good way of putting it. A lot of near-death experiences express how they feel extreme love and warmth, and they feel so good. After that's what they recall after being resuscitated and whatever experience they had. It's really cool then to think how our bodies are sinful and tainted after the fall, right? Or after Adam and Eve, kind of thing. After sin entered the world. And because of that now, it's really interesting then when we go on trips or even dreaming, in dreams, I love dreaming. I love sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sense of relief. I wonder if there's any sort of say for it's almost like separating our soul a little bit from our flesh, which may be why there's you feel less of a burden, which is really interesting. I'm just talking my butt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of a fun idea. There'd be some sort of you're peeking into the spiritual realm, because I believe dreams to also have meaning. You meet entities in your dreams, just like some people claim to on certain hallucinogenics. It all makes sense to me.
The more that somebody told me this a long time ago, the more that you experience in life, the more you're able to relate with other people, whether it's bad or good.
Yeah.
So any negative experience that you've had in life, and it might have been detrimental to you, use it as a tool to speak with other people who have been in the same situation that don't understand how to get over it or how to work through it.
Yeah.
And you're able to speak with those people and let them know, hey, this is how I tackled that situation, or I get you, bro. And some people kill themselves because they don't think anybody's there for them, but you could be the one person that has experienced what they did. And like, I'm not saying go do everything that's ever been done so you can relate with every single person, because that would include a lot of illegal things. You can not do those things, but
why do you think it's important to be good?
you leave a memory behind when you die, and
Do you
that's
remember?
it.
Do you remember the people before you?
Do I remember the people before me?
Yeah, like did they leave a good enough memory?
Do I remember the people? Like, are you asking if I had anybody that died that I remember?
Just every human ever,
So
I
I'm saying
guess. Just even in a grander scheme, maybe a less personal even.
the
What
reason,
memories have
the reason
withstood.
you want to be good is so that when people remember you when you die, they say good things about you. And they say he was a good man. He made some mistakes and he made some bad decisions, but he had a good heart and he meant well most of the time. And so that's the reason I think that it's important to do good. I have my own seed, and so leaving a legacy, some sort of financial buffer, and for people to say your dad was a good man, and no child wants to grow up thinking their dad was a POS. When you got all these people telling you your dad was a POS, like what makes you want to meet your dad? I didn't want to meet my dad.
Yeah.
I met him, but I just wasn't impressed, And so that's the reason that you should do good. So when you die, people say good things about you.
Well, what happens when you die?
Maggots eat your freaking eyes out.
That does happen.
Either that or they burn your ass and put you in a freaking vase and put you on the freaking fireplace, dude.
Yeah, so true. So true.
That's what happens when you die.
After they donate your organs.
After they take your organs involuntarily without asking permission.
All because you checked the box when you were 18, dude.
One time in Kootenai County.
Yeah, right.
How do you guys remember that?
The Chinese organ trade.
Are you asking if like what happens to your like spirit when you die?
Well,
or your soul.
I was just whatever you think. Maybe because if you don't believe you have a spirit, then it would just be maggots, right?
So the one belief that I kind of lean more towards is the whole science. Obviously, because we grew up with science, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense. A lot of it doesn't make sense, and so I get that. And I don't believe all of it, but I believe a lot of it, and I think that we're here by chance and we die, and then that's it. I think it's important to reproduce, so your genes carry, and I don't think that there's a purpose. I don't think that we're here for a reason. I think while we're here, it's important to do good, but I don't think that I was chosen by some entity in his image or hers image or theirs image or they's image or its image.
That's a lot of gross.
I'm hitting all the pronouns. All the pronouns.
You sound like you drive a Prius, dude.
I coexist.
I can say that because I drive Prius.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't sound like that.
Sounds like I stole your Prius.
Yeah, you can drive it. Great guy.
Yeah, I just don't believe that there's a reason we're here or there's a purpose.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty nihilistic, but all right.
It's sad, but if you can not think about it or care, then you just do what you have to do on the daily life and join the rat race.
Yeah.
That's it.
I guess I can, like, for me, though, because Christ is so much more than just, like, being good. He's our savior, and that word is very specific because of this world. Firsthand the hardships that this world brings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the lack of forgiveness, the lack of good that there is. And the
is there really, though? A lack of goodness?
There's not a lack of, it's a lack of, or rather a presence of bad, whatever that be.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've experienced things that aren't exactly fun, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be broken families, broken relationships, emotional turmoil, all sorts of heartache, pretty much, right? Those are bad things, right? Those aren't good, I guess,
Yeah.
per se. Maybe they can be used for good, but that's a
Right.
whole other combo.
I met
You
a
know-
lot of bad people in prison. A
Yeah.
lot of people that made a decision that they shouldn't have, but they
Mhm.
were great people. The person that tattooed my neck caught a body. He killed somebody. He's a great person. I spent hours and hours and hours with this dude drawing and chopping it up.
Yeah.
He's a really good person.
Yeah.
And so same with life. Like the negative 1 or 2 or 3 or 5%, whatever it is of life, is what's in front. And that's what people think most of the time. And I shouldn't generalize and say people, some people. But 95% of the time and 95% of the people I've met are really good. And I don't meet bad people very often.
Yeah, no, me either.
I see people make bad decisions, but and same like on the news, of course, it's just going to be this is happening and that's happening, and it's like meant to keep you down and make you not positive and keep you in this. Yeah. Anyways, I combat negativity with optimism.
Yeah, well, you sound pretty nihilistic, but yeah, cool, dude.
He's optimistic about it.
Yeah, an optimistic
He's
nihilist.
positive about it.
I mean, there's a lot of good people. I don't believe we're here for a purpose, but there's a lot
There's
of
no
good
purpose,
people.
but I'm happy about it.
So,
Convince me that I'm wrong.
I can't argue with that. So, no, but the
Let's go.
That's cool.
I'll be thinking about that.
but yeah, yeah. I mean, if you think the world's good enough, then I guess there's no saving needed. But I guess I take the perspective of I needed a savior. I got that a lot from my conspiracy theories, which I think I was getting to, and then we
And
sidetracked.
we rudely interrupted
We
you.
derailed hard. But no, just I don't care.
Is that me?
Yeah, I think
I did that?
was it him? I don't know. It may have just been us.
Did you just ask me to tell?
I'll take the blame.
He just asked me to tell on you.
What?
Rat on him, dude, right?
Jess
Oh,
will
no
never do
way,
that.
not
He's got
happening.
prison, dude.
I don't even know who this dude is.
Yeah.
It was him.
But yeah, Josh, yeah, wait, whoa. This is being recorded, you know.
I know.
Josh and Caleb, they got me super deep into conspiracy theories, and at the time, I didn't have my trust in Jesus, right? And I remember going like full existential crisis mode, because it really did absorb my life. I had nothing else going on other than my YouTube channel. The idea, basically, I was staying up multiple nights in a row, like way late. And I was making maps for my family to flee to the mountains. I went full crazy.
You were making maps for them to flee?
Yeah.
How old were
I was
you?
18, 19, 20
Nice.
even.
There's a couple versions of Joe I miss. The first one's the pizza tooth and that triangle tooth. I love
You
that.
were there for that, dude.
I love that.
You had
I
a
miss
triangle
that,
tooth?
Joe.
Well,
then
when
another
you
one
knew
was-
me, I had triangle two front teeth when
You
I'd bite
did?
in stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
miss
it's pretty
that,
bad.
Joe.
I don't
And
remember
then the other
sharp
one
teeth.
Yeah,
is
you and
just-
Anna both.
Yeah, his planning days. It's good.
Were they just
but
growing
it's-
in crooked or
it's over.
something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just wasn't enough
In a
room in
handsome
my teeth.
way.
Yeah, and the most handsome. I was the most
How-
handsomest broken teeth child. No,
How did they get fixed?
braces?
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, I
Nice.
actually had to put what they called a. They told me it's called a spreader. Everybody else I've
The
talked to.
spreader.
That's the expression you get.
Uh-oh.
Everybody else goes, no, you should call it an expander. And I'm like, "Ah." But anyways, they put that in your teeth, and then every single day, twice a day, you have to fit this little key thing in there and push back, and it pushes two walls, pretty much pushing your teeth apart. So it's
Wow.
breaking your top palate every single time you do it. It'd bring me to tears. So I did that for multiple months.
They made
go-
you do that?
Yeah.
That's horrible. I would have walked around with fucked up teeth.
No, it was worth it.
It
Wasn't
was?
that bad. I mean, I'd be crying for a second, and then it would go, all right. And then I'd go on with my day.
You'd have to break your mouth every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Twice a day.
No big deal, dude.
No big deal. Yeah. And then they put the braces on, fixed it up.
Hmm.
Yeah, because they had to make room first. Because why it was a triangle is because my top palate was too small.
There's got to be an easier way. They tortured you.
I mean, you could
That's
have a
child
hammer.
abuse.
Whoopsh. Just go to dentures. I don't know. I don't know. Have you ever had to wear braces? Your teeth are perfect, dude.
Mm.
Crazy. Bro's so fortunate.
Guys, get
What a
man. He's
blessed
very
man.
blessed.
They grew in
Dang,
like
dude.
this.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, conspiracy theories. And basically looking at the world deep into conspiracy theories. I was looking at like Rothschilds, you know, all the deep families of like BlackRock, how they own everything, and
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about any of that.
I don't watch conspiracies.
Okay, yeah. Basically, the evil of this world that I was witnessing was something that I came to the realization or the epiphany that it aligned with the biblical evil, which I thought was extremely captivating. I suddenly then, because going through my high school, middle school time, even before then, you know, I've been exposed to Christianity so much. I've been learning about it. It's not like I haven't been in the Bible, just not on my own, right? So it's like I have an idea of what that biblical evil looks like. And looking at this world and the people trying to take hold of it and what their goals are and their motives and how it perfectly aligned with that, again, it just made me extremely curious. And I began to question. And thankfully, around me and my family, I have a ton of people who have beautiful, strong faiths. And I ended up going over west, visiting some family on the Monster Rock Hill, which I think you've been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. They're all amazing over there. And I just came with a ton of questions, and they answered every single one of them and more, entertaining all of my wacky ideas. And just you know, on the way home, then I decided to give my life to Christ. But it's not because I wanted to be good, but it's because I realized I needed a savior. Because I couldn't save myself from this world. There was no help from anybody else. There was no love, you know. I found myself struggling. I could never do enough. I was fighting against this thing that was working against me, right? And it's like, wow, I need somebody, something. And Christ then knocking on my door was like, hey, I'm here to help you. I want to give you all those things. I am here. Hold my hand, right? Or in fact, let me pick you up. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And ever since then, to see the fruits that have come from that and the way that his hand has guided my life, it's been such a journey full of joy. And it's incredible.
That's good.
It's awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. But yeah, how was prison, dude?
Smooth.
Well, I want to say one more thing about religion. I'm not against any religion that is positive and is helping people. Like,
yeah,
I don't believe it, but if it's helping people and you're growing and you're becoming a better person and you're happy, then why not?
Yeah.
You know? So,
amen.
I'm not like, oh, this guy's dumb because he believes in that. No, not at all.
Yeah.
If you believe in that and it is progressing your life.
And same for you.
Yeah.
Any atheist, it's the
Atheist?
opposite of
Did I just get a label?
not
Am I an atheist?
anybody who
I
doesn't
labeled you
believe
as a
in
white
God.
boy a long time ago.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
Anybody who doesn't believe in God, you know, it's not my place to judge them,
Yeah.
right? It's not my place to belittle them.
Right.
There should be no holier than thou. It's what we grew up in religion. That's what we grew up in. That's
I
not,
reject it wholeheartedly.
and we
still do.
We all rejected it. At least as brothers. Jeremiah and I were talking. Anyways, well, we can talk about that after the pod. But
How was prison?
That was smooth, dude.
Not really.
it was pretty smooth. Come on,
I feel like I hit my head on the
be
dash.
optimistic, bro. Come on.
come on, dude. It was good. It was a good segue.
Could I say something? You can cut it.
Yeah,
if you don't
say
want.
everything, dude.
Okay. So good and evil. I keep hearing this coming up, right? And then you're saying how you believe in science and how there's some stuff you don't like about it, but you know, you believe in that. And you're like, yeah, you know, you're just not really searching for it right now, right?
That's fair.
Fine. It's relationship based, but good and evil, like the way I would describe that is going back to truth again. First, you have to figure out what is the truth that you believe. And then you've got to go down all the rabbit trails. This is why I don't like religion, because religion, you're almost like scared to look at anything else because you don't want to like betray what you believe.
Right.
But in reality, when you find the truth, like, you know, every rabbit trail you go down, you're going to end up proving the truth. Like it's going to point back to why you believe what you believe. And so you don't need to be scared of going down rabbit holes or talking to people that believe different things or judging people. But from the Bible, if you look at good and evil, think about the garden. Was there any pain before they ate the fruit, Joe?
No.
Was there any lying?
No.
Was there any pride?
No.
Was there any selfishness?
No.
No. So what are the fruits of the Spirit?
The opposite.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control, right?
Mm.
And so good are those, the fruits of the Spirit. Evil is the absence of God. The absence of God is basically us trying to figure out this life on our own. And it leads to pride. It leads to selfishness. It leads to literally the opposite of the fruits of the Spirit. And what comes along with that too is guilt, shame. Like you feeling like you'd be letting us down, as a family. Like, no, you won't be, dude. We're all humans. We're all flawed.
Yeah.
And it's our human nature to go and, do things. We're going to mess up. But that's where God's grace comes in too, because he wants us to experience good, which is the fruit of the Spirit. And honestly, it's a really tough choice to choose to have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because we have to basically recognize that shame, guilt, all these negative, like the pride that I get, the selfishness, those thoughts, those aren't of God. That's spiritual warfare. That's, that's not something that is from God. And I've got to fight those. And that way I can embrace the joy, the love, the peace, all those fruits of the Spirit, because I know God's in control. And as long as I just simply love everyone the way that Christ did, everyone around me is going to be raised up, and I'm going to be raised up, right? Because of that. It's a byproduct of choosing that God is good, and choosing to have him in my life. So that's how I would filter the difference between good and evil. As soon as they ate that fruit, they rejected God. So really the serpent, the devil, evil, it was when they intentionally chose to disobey God and rely on their own knowledge. That is when it was like, okay, it says in Judges, let the man who doesn't believe in God, like, save himself by his own right hand. And the problem is this earth, everything on this earth decays. So it's like, you might be able to do well right now. And that speaks to God's grace, how you can do well even without giving him the credit. Even living an evil life. But, in the end, it's like, well, it just comes down to truth for me. But that's how I define good and evil, because I feel like that's a really important question to have, though. And Jesse, I appreciate how open you are about this stuff too, dude. Like, wherever you're at, that's the other cool thing too. This isn't religion, because I don't have to convert you. In fact, I don't want to convert you. Like,
well, we can't.
God opened my eyes. Yeah, I can't. It's not
our responsibility. It's not.
All that's up to me is to live good and to model that.
I don't feel judged. I don't feel pressured. Just so you guys know.
Good.
Well, I judge you very harshly. I do it behind your back.
The judge done judged me at sentencing. That's the last time I got judged. So I don't feel at all like I'm being converted or attempting it.
No.
I have felt like that in the past, but not with you guys. But with certain people, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way.
No, you're part of the family.
We're having an adult conversation.
Yeah.
About spirituality. That's all that is.
Have you ever met entity at all while tripping balls? No. Have you met anybody who has claimed to? Oh, okay. Cool.
Not that I know of or remember. No.
It doesn't even have to be a spiritual entity. Like, what's the best lie?
I wouldn't say I met anything. It was just me in my mind, experiencing dream state.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't talk to anybody or anything like that. It was just me feeling.
That's cool. That's pretty neat.
Me feeling.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Oh, nothing. You can cut that out.
Oh, okay.
What was the question?
Nah, don't worry about it.
I don't remember.
Well, so you drew...
Run it back.
Oh, run it. We're running. What are we?
Dude, I can't run right now. I'm healing.
It was
I got a cosmetic surgery.
It was what makes a good lie? Something like that.
Oh yeah, I asked what makes a good lie.
Oh yeah, what makes a good lie?
And where my mind went with that too is like you're asking about a spiritual entity, and you brought up demons.
Yeah.
Right. And when you think about how there's good and evil, it like this is something that kind of kept me away from religion too for a while, or pursuing God. It's like, dude, like you're gonna tell me there's ghosts, that like I need to believe all that stuff. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, there's definitely things out there that I can't explain, and what I've found to be truth, which is the Bible. That's what I've found to be truth. If it says it in the Bible, I believe it to be true. But what makes the best life? If you're the devil, and all you need to do is convince people God's not in control, and you're here without a purpose. Let's see what you do. What's the best lie?
A liar?
No, a lie. The best lie is going to be like 80 to 99% true, just slightly tweaked. He doesn't need to get you to believe something completely different. He just needs to cause a seed of doubt, or to do like what, if you look at a lot of the religions, and if you look at the ancient religions back in the biblical time, you can trace a lot of them back to, Tower of Babel, and I guess Noah's family, and even the time before Noah's Ark. And really, it's just different variations throughout the cultural timeline. A lot of it was verbally passed down, and it's shifted over time when people were spread out. The languages were mixed up after the Tower of Babel. Like, one religion may splinter off into multiple different religions, and over time they shift, and that's how the devil would work. It's not like he doesn't have to come down and be like this red guy with horns, right? And like appear to you when you're having a dream because you're tripping on DMT to be like, Jesse, I'm taking you down to hell with me. No. All the devil needs to do is take you on this journey that's incredible, enlighten you a little bit, maybe give you a little secret knowledge that when you get back to your body, you're like, hey, yeah, you know what? I got this figured out. I don't need God.
It's a really interesting question of like an example of that is basically if you live your life just to be a good person. People just want to be a good person, right? But ultimately then the Bible says that's not enough. Kinda.
I think it's interesting how we have a desire to be good.
Yeah.
Even when we don't believe, because for a lot of like our high school, I was basically, actually, I was pretty much an atheist.
We were good people, though.
I know.
We just had fun.
See, I think that's the Holy Spirit, like, nudging us, looking back. God was like, dude, you bringing that note, putting that on that car, that was not a selfish Jesse decision. That was like, there's clearly something that's nudging you to do that. Yeah. And then that was the devil on the other shoulder being like, hey, that was the dumbest thing you could have done. Right? Like,
go get the note.
That right there that's spiritual warfare. But I think it's cool to see like all those different examples of how this speaks to his grace, how even when you and I have completely rejected God, because for the majority of our like high school and even actually up until like 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, no, I got this. Don't worry, God. I believe you're there, but I don't really care to seek you out, Like, dude, he continuously protected us and guided our steps through those little nudges, like those like weird, like, I know this is going to sound out of left field, but I just feel like I've got to do this. Those types of moments.
Yeah.
And that's...
you remember my 18th birthday party? At that cabin?
Yeah, dude, that was wild.
That was crazy.
This isn't my podcast. I'm sorry.
What happened there, dude?
Nothing good.
Oh.
What do you mean?
That was fun.
Yeah.
So this kid named Jordan Walters, his grandparents had a cabin. I don't know where it was, in Hauser or something. It was up somewhere. And I was turning 18, so we created a little Facebook party invite thing and invited everybody from school to go to my 18th birthday party. And we all met in the Walmart parking lot at State Line. There's like 50 cars or
Let's
something.
go.
That was a rager.
And he's like, yo, I got my grandma's cabin. They ain't gonna be there this weekend, so we can use it. So we get there. He like flips the power on somehow, and we got this cabin to ourselves up in the woods. And it's like winter because my birthday's in November. And so there's nobody else up there. It's just us and a bunch of kids. Anyways, there's just a line of cars. We're all following. They're all following us. I'm in the car with Jordan, and we get there, and I smash like half a bottle as soon as I walk in, and then I blacked out.
Crazy.
But everybody else had a great time.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you just hear the experience from
other people. Yeah.
I've been drunk once, but that's it. I don't know if you actually know that. But that's it.
Did you love it?
It was really fun. It was super fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was really fun. It was definitely, I see the appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very addicting very fast. You just want to do that every day, all day.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the weird thing for me is I didn't want to do it again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
it was really fun though. But
that means that you don't have so addiction is passed through genetics. And so
Can be.
It can be, yeah. So like my parents, obviously addicts, my grandparents, addicts.
Yeah.
I don't know about my great grandparents. My son, more than likely, will be addicted to something. And so me experiencing all the things that I've experienced in life and becoming sober gives me a chance to mentor him through those experiences. And I can't judge him and I can't outcast him. Just need to love him and be there for him. So yeah, addiction is a thing, bro.
Well, cool. I just got to say, it's really cool to hear your reflection on all of your life and all that. It's super, super cool to hear where you're at with it right now. Just trying to grow from it all rather than wallow in it.
I'm no pity.
Yeah. Cool, dude. Just try not to be a victim about it all.
At all, bro. I've taken full responsibility for the things that I've done. I've came to realization that I've made a lot of bad decisions and I've mistreated a lot of people and I neglected a lot of people.
Yeah, what does it mean?
Took advantage.
What does it mean to you to be like an owner of yourself, you know? Not being a victim, I guess. Taking extreme ownership.
You make a mistake, you own it. Hey, yes, I made that mistake. Now what can I do to fix it? Or can we move on and not do that again? And so like I don't even really like to say mistakes because you make decisions in life and choices. You don't make mistakes. A mistake is like if I don't know, I overcorrect on a turn and I crash into a fence. Like I mistook that. But the bad decision was to go drink and drive.
Right.
But so
Geometry's hard, dude.
And so people like in a lot of my classes that I take, a lot of people will be like, well, due to a drunken night. And I'm like, no, not due to a drunken night, due to a bad decision that you made. You chose to do those things and that's why you're here. Not because of a mistake.
Right.
You know? And so, just owning up to your crap. Like I forgive myself for everything.
Yeah.
I don't need other people's forgiveness. I forgive myself. And the people who forgive me, those are the people I'm going to keep close. You know, the people that invested their time into me while I was working on myself in there. Those are the people that I'm going to keep close. And those are the people when I'm able to look out for them, I'll be able to, you know?
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of great things in my life for many people. And I've made a few bad decisions. And those bad decisions are what gets put in the limelight. And so people will define you off those right off the bat. Oh, he's a POS, you know, and it's like, okay, but what about all the thousands of dollars of food I put on your plate and worked so hard for? Because I you know, so all those things are thrown out the window
Yeah.
as soon as you make a bad choice.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just forgive myself, bro. Forgive yourself. Move on, grow. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. And so I stay uncomfortable. I'm always doing something.
Nice.
The moment I wake up, I'm running out of time in the day.
Yeah, something I learned in my life is that comfort quickly turns into discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Really, happiness, although it's fleeting, when you're uncomfortable, you find it more often, I guess. Like when I was just at my mom's for 2 years doing nothing, being lonely, I was extremely comfortable.
But
I don't
were
have
you
to worry about
doing
anything.
nothing though? You
I was
say
doing
it,
YouTube.
and that's
Went
doing,
longboarding
and that's
sometimes.
doing something though. Like that is a job these days. That is an investment in yourself. And so I don't want you to think that you're not doing anything. You're doing something. You drove out here to do a podcast that could potentially increase your monetization of your YouTube channel somehow. I don't know exactly how it all works yet. But
Yeah.
like you're doing it, and the society and other people will say, "Oh, all he does is YouTube and this and that." Who cares? I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to tattoo and make music. You want to play video games and stream and make money that way? You're doing something. Don't tell yourself you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. I think for me, it was more of I didn't find happiness in it or joy, rather. I didn't choose to have joy in it. And so it just, I was a victim in my own success, in my own comfort, you know? And in that comfort came a lot of complacency, which then led to my knowing of I am capable for more, and yet I am not doing, right? Which then brings on a lot of shame and guilt, and it's because I was without Christ at the time. I definitely put myself through a lot more than I needed to. I'm also pretty ambitious. I think we get that a lot from Dad. If that's genetic at all, maybe that's just a normal human thing.
Well, you watched him do it with his businesses. Like, yeah, your dad might be flawed in some other areas, but like from my perspective, I seen him grinding. You know, I seen him try to do an insurance business. I don't know what else he did before or after that, but like a business, that's a big deal. Like to have your own office and be selling insurance or whatever he was doing, like that's respectable in my eyes because you got 6 kids now and 2 dogs, and you guys didn't have cats. I would have known if you had cats.
No, we didn't have cats.
You had a bunch of mouths to feed at that house, you know, and so he was grinding and he was trying. And like I said earlier, like when people make bad decisions, those are the ones that go to light. And your dad did a lot of great things, more than likely. I don't know your guys' whole life, but more than likely he did a lot of good things. And same for my dad and my mom. They did a lot of good things, and the few bad things that they did, those are the ones everybody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I've been kind of like not standing up for your dad, but being like his little cheerleader a little bit since I've been here. And only because I know what it's like to be in that light. And like what I did compared to what he's done, nowhere near as bad. Come on now, you know? Like I've done some messed up things, and this man he's flawed, and we all are, but he's still trying, you know? As far as I see, he's came over for Thanksgiving, wants to come over for Christmas, see the girls, see his boys, you know? Like that's love. You know?
Yeah. You said you forgive yourself?
Yeah.
You know,
you're like, why?
No, you know what happens if you don't forgive?
You die? You hate yourself?
No, it starts to grow bitterness. So, like you're saying, you forgive yourself. This is where it all goes back to truth for me, too, because like Christ just wants us to confess. And then basically when you confess what you've done or you've owned it, you're not the victim, that opens the door for him to show grace and to forgive. Forgiveness is a gift from the other person. It's not something you have to get. So if you harm somebody or if you wrong somebody, you can confess it, own it, and grow through it without their forgiveness, because that's a gift that it's up to them if they want to give it or not. But see, just like how you're saying you're forgiving yourself, you're basically now enabling grace the way that God created it for you to be able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I made a mistake, but that's an opportunity to learn. Because of that, I'm going to become better. I'm going to improve, right, and become better. And then it's the same thing with those people, like parents that have hurt us, or whatever, whoever we think hurt us.
Mm-hmm.
We either have the choice to look at it as, like, from a selfish standpoint of, man, I'm the victim in this.
Right.
It's that choice. Or you can say, you know what? They're a person just like me. Like, when I'm a dad, I'm going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I hanging on to this unforgiveness and allowing it to become bitterness in my own life?
And then it just hurts you.
Yeah, and that's how a lot, usually, like addiction or a lot of those things are genetic. It's because typically the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and we learn from those examples and we end up recreating it.
That's why you and your dad have the same personality.
Yeah, isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
So genetically we do have the same personality, but just like you, I don't like to be the victim.
Yeah.
It's
the last thing I want to be.
There's a lot of things that you've done wrong, but there's a lot of things I've done wrong, man. Who am I to judge?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think your dad's ever like intentionally hurt you guys.
Oh, no.
You know, it's all been or like not accidental, but like unknowingly. Like, I'm unknowingly hurting other people because I'm making the decisions in my life.
I don't know if arrogance would be the right word.
Yeah, it's close to it. I'd say, yeah, I'm arrogant. You're arrogant. You know, like
absolutely.
When
Jeremiah,
when Jeremiah told me about how the things that I said to him when we were young, like, encouraged him to do certain things. Like, when he told me that, I realized, like, wow, I have a lot bigger of an impact than I realized with just a small amount of things. Like, and so it goes off onto the negative spectrum as well. So, like, the negative things I do as well, and same for everybody else, will encourage or affect other people's life, you know? So like, your dad more than likely was making bad decisions, and unknowingly it was hurting everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think he ever like intentionally made the decision, I hate my children, I'm going to ruin their lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Being so much older than Joe, I know me and Caleb both have really good memories with Dad.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I had fun times with Dad. Yeah. But so Dad was always super ambitious. Anyway, so I was being ambitious. I'm sure Josh remembers.
You're good at jumping back on the train, man. I forgot where we were. Let's get back on the train.
I'm a professional.
That's why he does it.
Let me hop on this train. I would come to Boise and visit Josh, or Puyallup, or wherever, or just his house in Post Falls at the time. Whenever the YouTube channel was happening during that period, and I would always come with a new idea and how I was going to be doing it, and every single time it was a new idea. A lot of them flopped. Some of them I never finished. You know, it was very messy, right? And I kind of chalk all that up. It's really interesting to see how my emotional state has improved a lot since I've given up that control. I learned that I was taking control of my YouTube channel. God gave me this vehicle that it is to fund my life, right? That he was going to gift me to use to serve him, or at least I can find a lot of joy in it, yet I chose to not, right? And I chose to be discontent with it. Therefore, I continued to try and change it. The entire channel is based around a specific game called World Box. It's like the best game ever. It's definitely one of my favorite I've ever played.
That's subjective.
It is subjective.
It's pretty.
Do you play Call of Duty?
Oh yeah.
Because we think that's the best game ever.
But
survey me in like 2 months, I'll agree with you.
So you're able to monetize that though?
Yeah,
Nice.
Absolutely. Huge blessing. Straight out of high school, I was making money.
Good.
It was awesome. And yet I convinced myself that it wasn't. So I was kind of trapped in it because I wanted to do other content.
Right.
But the only thing so basically what would happen is I would be making consistent income. I'd post a different video, not World Box related, right? And then it would get 2,000 views after my World Box one got over 100,000.
Yeah.
Right. And then so my next World Box video would get 20,000 views, and it would like tank, and then I'd lose all the momentum. So the algorithm, so then.
Are you paying for ads?
Well, I don't pay for ads.
No, like paying to boost yourself?
No.
You should.
Nah. Here's the thing. The only reason why I ever found success in the first place was because of God. I don't think I really believe in the algorithm. God does his thing. There's no reason for my videos back then to have blown up like they did. And there's no reason for me to have found any success with any video I've ever made. So
I also believe this.
yes, so true. So it's really interesting to see how. Anyways, at the time, then because my foundation wasn't in something solid, my foundation being my emotional, my truth, right? My emotions were very volatile when it came to my views. So whenever I'd take a tank like that, I would get super depressed and I wouldn't post again for the next 2 weeks because I was too sad to get up and do something. I was being a loser, right?
Subjective.
Yeah, for me.
You're not a loser, Joe.
Thanks, Josh.
You're just not.
I am a lot of the time, dude. I am a lot of the time.
You're not a loser. You're just not a good winner.
You're gonna be a winner in my mom's eyes for the rest of her life.
If we're saying mistakes or anything, I've made a lot of bad decisions, right?
Yeah.
My decision to not work, pretty much, and because I was feeling too bad about myself. Anyways, I don't remember where I was like going with this or what the point was, but my YouTube channel is it's a huge blessing, and I've been trying to figure out how to obey God with it. And being gracious, first of all, for what he's given me, even if I don't really want to be posting World Box videos. It's something I am extremely blessed to have.
Do you feel obligated to talk about God on your podcast?
No, I want to.
Okay.
So God is actually now the center of my life, and he's the only thing I really have fun talking about.
Okay.
I mean, I have fun talking about everything else, obviously, but when it comes to my podcast, it's a great time to sit down with somebody and have a real conversation about stuff and where they're at with their life. And, for me, God has brought me so much joy, and I think it would be a shame to not share that joy.
Right. So it's part of your life. It's an experience of yours. You should share it.
Yeah. I don't feel obligated. To talk to anybody about God. I don't think
the reason I ask is I was thinking like maybe your views weren't doing good, and so I thought maybe you thought that you should talk about God in order to please him on your YouTube channel. That's why I was thinking that, because then I was thinking like, well, maybe if he thinks that he talks about God on there, that God will bless him with the views.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But if you don't feel that way, then that's good, because then you're really genuinely talking about it because you like to talk about it, not because you're obligated.
Well, so my podcast is on a separate channel. I believe this podcast was actually
First mistake.
What?
Just
hey, yo.
Let that be your last mistake. It's a reference to you, Jer.
But my other channel actually has no idea about God. I made a testimony video on that channel, but I've continued Worldbox videos the same old, right?
What is Worldbox?
It's just like this sandbox God simulator. You play some little people, they build nations. I just put down.
Pretty addicting.
I just build scenarios and make a video over it. I put down people in a specific way.
If you watch his videos, what sells it is his humor. He actually makes it pretty cool.
He does?
Yeah.
I'll have to check him out.
Me and the girls could definitely sit down and watch Joe's videos for a while.
YouTube?
He makes me laugh. He's got a really handsome laugh.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
People can listen to it for hours.
For some reason, I like your sense of humor.
Here, add your YouTube real quick.
It's called Simulated. Oh, that works too.
You know I can't spell, man. Just play.
Yeah,
I just typed it in wrong. Hold on.
You're just a prison scientist, dude. You can't spell anything.
A prison manufacturer.
There you go. But yeah,
you didn't even subscribe to yourself?
No, dude.
Come on, man. USA
That's your phone, bro.
Look at you, bro. Okay.
Yeah. So praise God for that. That's all God. It was all God.
Nice.
But yeah, this podcast, the stars aligned. As far as I'm concerned, this is where God wants me to be. I don't know why.
What's the podcast channel?
The Lindley Listen.
The Lindley Listen. I like that.
Yeah.
You didn't do your homework before coming on, dude?
I'm a busy man. All I knew is I was going to be sitting down with Josiah. That's all it was.
Amen. That's how it should be.
Yeah, when you texted me, I was like, how did he get my number?
The Call of Duty group chat.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
It's in there?
Yeah. You're in one of the, I think it was.
Oh, on the phone.
On the phone.
Okay, because I was thinking on like PS4. I was like, how did he get in there?
No, on the phone. Caleb made a group chat between the four of us.
Yeah.
The Lindley Listen. Is that you right there?
This must be Jesse.
Is that you right there?
Yeah.
That's me, dude. Yeah.
Which one of those is you? Oh, you're the one on the right with the mustache.
Yeah, dude. You can't tell? Crazy. The one that looks like Josh, dude. That's me.
How do I subscribe to it?
There should be a big subscribe button. We're probably close to 100. What are we at now?
All these things are new to me. Like, I remember all this stuff a little bit, but like, I'm having a hard time with the phone.
I'll have some patience.
The interwebs did not end up just being a fad. It did not go.
I know, but you kind of forget how to use it. Yeah. Everything updated.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre to me because it's like I've never been without it now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
We went to Costco and he like watched me tap my card and he's like, "What did you just do?" Magic, dude. They're going to let us leave with these groceries now. Watch.
That's so rad.
Yeah, that's funny.
We should go to... We're podcasting right now. We'll talk later. We'll talk after.
I need this and that at Costco.
No, yeah, but the podcast was super cool because I started the podcast almost a year after coming to Christ. So I came to Christ July 24th, 2023. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got the date.
I got the date, dude.
Nice.
It was that was a crazy day. Anyways.
That's why.
That's when like the 3 rainbow stuff happened that I haven't really told you about.
Okay. Are you going to elaborate?
If you want me to.
You could watch, now that you're subscribed, you could watch his video.
That's true. I made a video on it.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. You might even be in it, dude.
Yeah, actually I just won't talk to you. I'll just watch your video. Yeah. No, I want to hear it.
Okay. Well, you've heard like all the build up kind of thing. But so like I was mentioning how I was over at my family's on the West Coast. What are we at, Josh? Can you see the little timer in the right corner?
2.5 hours.
That's such a win. This has not felt like that. It's felt real fast.
You guys need water or anything? I can't need water.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like disrupting.
Sorry, am I ruining the podcast?
No, you're good.
We're gonna touch on the rainbow right now.
Yeah.
I'll get water for us. Sorry, not serious. You gotta cut that out.
Thank you, brother. I'll put it in the end as a bonus. We like to do bonus stuff after the episode, so it's all like the stuff that we cut out. If there's any funny moments, we put at the very end.
Nice. Nice. Should we do a little dance?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Okay, so I was over on the West Coast. My family answered all my questions. I'm going through existential crisis, right? Of like, there's evil in this world. I need a savior. Okay, I accept Christ on the way home. So this is where the story picks up, where that morning I'm on the West Coast, 300 miles away from Post Falls, right? My mom's living in Post Falls. Do you know the park Kiwanis? Kiwanis Park. It's along Spokane River in Post Falls. You know, like Black Bay. You probably know Black Bay. Mm-hmm. Do you know like Quemlin?
Yeah, Quemlin.
Yeah, it goes like Quemlin, Black Bay, Kiwanis.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's like near Ponderosa. Anyways, so there's just a park a little bit away from my mom's house. I drive in, get home, right? I walk into my house real quick. So I just gave my life to Christ on the drive home. And okay, here, let me restart. I'm kind of everywhere. Okay, I wake up that morning.
Okay.
Right? My family's convinced me of all this stuff. We're having one more cool conversation about God after I'm asking my grandma all these questions. I say goodbye to the family. On the way home, I decide I'm going to give my life to Christ. Super emotional moment. And I decide that I want to do a self-baptism. Something like that, right? I think at the time I still didn't really know what a baptism meant, but I knew I wanted to do it. I knew it just like cleansed me or something like that.
Right. Your dad baptized me.
Yeah. He baptized me too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we all did it the same day.
Yeah,
Right.
probably, dude.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I don't remember too much of it.
I remember it was in the winter in the Spokane River.
Okay, that was different then, because for me it was on the staircase in Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so I decided to do some sort of self-baptism thing. So then I show up to my house. I walk in, throw my bag in my room, grab my longboard. My mom didn't have a side quest for me, so I said hi, bye, right? And I step out to the front door, and as soon as I step out of the front door holding my longboard, there was thunder, right? And I'm like, oh, hopefully it's not raining when I'm down there swimming, right? So because it wasn't raining where I was at. Hop on my longboard, start going down the road all the way to the park. As soon as I enter the park, it starts raining. So I'm like, bah humbug, right?
Okay, wait, were you going to go swimming?
I was gonna go baptize myself,
Oh, okay.
so I have to get
So
in the
you
water.
basically did get baptized
Come
by
on
the
in,
rain.
dude. Pause.
But you did get baptized by the rain.
I I guess so. I'm not Catholic, but yeah.
Is that what they do?
No, I don't. That's just they do like the little sprinkle of water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't. I think that's more of a legal. That's not like a.
I'm pretty sure what you're telling me is that God baptized you.
Doesn't God kind of baptize all of us? In a fun sense.
Josiah says that he's going down to the river to go do a self baptism, basically go swimming.
Yeah.
And it starts raining.
Yeah, God baptized you.
Pretty sure God
He sure did, dude.
baptized you.
Jesus
He
was
sure did.
baptized by John the Baptist.
So true.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I got down to the river front, the riverhead, where I was going to do it. Threw myself underneath a bench to get out of the rain, and I stood in the water about knee high, and I looked up into the storm clouds above me, and I repented. I confessed to God, basically expressing how I am unworthy of love and His love, especially, right, and that I am a sinner, and that I've betrayed Him in more ways than I can even understand. And then I jumped into the water, baptizing myself. I suppose my head popped up out of the water, and I remember floating there like, all right, now what, God, right? What's going on now? I remember kind of thinking I didn't know where to go from there, right? It's like, okay, so I've given my life to Him. What does this even mean? And suddenly I remember, I mean, I'll swim there for a minute or two, but the rain started to subside, and I went, "Ooh, what?" And I remember looking up into the sky to see what's going on, and the storm clouds started to move upriver, and they began to light up a beautiful hot pink, and I went, "Ooh, wow!" Right? And I turned around to see where the color was coming from, and it's a beautiful sunset, gorgeous sunset, and so I'm like, "Oh, whoa, this is cool!" Kind of cool timing. And I'm just feeling good. It's kind of I'll get to that. But I keep swimming there for a little bit, and I turn around, and on the other side of the river, there's a double rainbow, because the rain clouds are still raining. They're just further up the stream, being lit up now by the sun. There's a double rainbow. So now my mouth dropped at that point, and I'm like,
God's
whoa.
promise.
God's promise. God's here. He saw me. He sees me. Right? Whoa. So I sit there for about 15 minutes of just like an awe, and the idea that the timing of this is too perfect. I woke up that morning 300 miles away. I was in no rush to get out of my family's place. I had nothing to get back to other than YouTube. It's like there was no timing set. I got up and I left when we did. And on the way home, anything could have happened. My mom didn't have a side quest for me. It's the timing of it all. It was literally down to the minute, like literally. So I sit there and I'm like, oh, okay, this is God, right? Sit there for about 15 minutes trying to talk to God, however you do that, right? And I got on my longboard, started to head home. How Kiwanis works, it's kind of like a L shape, or rather, there's the park is a square, but the road out of it is an L, where then on the short part of the L, you turn onto the long part, and all the way down at the end, my mom's house is pretty much right there. And so I'm going on the short end of the L, and as I take a right turn, looking down the far end where my mom's house is at the end, there's a third rainbow at the very end. So now at this point, I started crying. I'm bawling my eyes out, riding my longboard home with a feeling, with a presence I've never felt before, and I can only describe as God's love, right? I'm riding home now with a beautiful bright pink storm clouds to my right that were just raining on me, beautiful sunset to my left, double rainbow behind me, and a third rainbow in front of me. I've never seen 3 rainbows before in my entire life. And I get home, I tell my mom immediately what just happened. We're both crying. And for some reasons, I don't know why, I had to call my cousin Lucas, my brother Lucas. Amen. Shout out to Lucas. I told him what just happened. He's like, dude, that's insane. And he's like, 3 rainbows, that's crazy. You should look up what 3 means in the Bible. So I hung up on him real quick and looked that up. And 3 means completeness and new life.
Whoa, you just looped that back.
Yeah, I did, dude. Full round table there.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you should have dropped the mic.
No, these are expensive. But yeah, dude. So yeah.
That's cool, bro. I'm glad that you got to experience that.
Me too. And I can't chalk it up to anything other than God. And ever since then, it's just been a wild ride.
Yeah.
And it's been nothing but good.
Well, I haven't seen you in over 10 years, and I can say just from a couple hours of sitting with you that you're a smart, intelligent young man, and don't conform to society's structure of what they want you to do. Do what you want to do, and or what God wants you to do.
Yeah,
and,
amen.
So just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Be creative, create things, follow what you like to do, bro.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't work out, you made something, you did something. And that's a big accomplishment. It's big.
Yeah.
So don't minimize it.
Yeah.
You're a good kid. I haven't seen you in forever. And it's cool to see you as an adult with a beard. How does he have a beard and I don't?
I mean, it's kind of a sad beard,
You
but
grow up,
it'll be
right?
there eventually.
I'm just saying these kids got hella testosterone or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I try, dude.
They're not.
He said that's right.
No, I it has been like 10 years, something like that, right?
Yes, it's been over 10 years. I haven't seen you since 2013.
You've been through more than I can imagine, but it's been fun catching up, dude.
Yeah.
You are extremely capable, and I just want you to know that there is no judgment, and I'm elated to have you back in the family here.
That's good. Thank you.
I hope you feel no rush to leave.
I
We all love you.
Yeah.
We want you here.
I ain't going nowhere.
Good,
I'm on
dude.
parole.
I mean, I'm sure Josh is like,
I'm stuck in Edo.
I have a Jesse now.
this is your house, dude. Yeah.
So my plan was to get a place with Rain within the next few months. But I just talked to my PO, and she said that I'm going to be going on to DV parole, which is different than regular parole, and they don't like you to have relationships in that.
Hmm.
And so more than likely, I'm going to have to wait until I finish my DV class in order to do that. So I'll probably just look for like a room somewhere that's in like a setting where, like, I've rented rooms before where the setting is each person has their own room and the owner just collects the rent, you know? And like, I don't feel rushed to get out, but I do want to get out. So that way, like, I was telling her too, like I value our friendship, and I don't ever want it to get to the point where it's toxic, you know? And I don't think it will, but like, you know what they say about the family and fish?
What do they say about fish?
They say family's like fish. It gets old after 3 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they stay. But
not my family. I'm an extrovert, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about it, dude.
Yeah.
But
so I would like to get my own space, like, and give you that space back for whatever, you know, if your parents or Joe wants to come or whatever, or when you start having more kids, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can't be stagnant here. I need to keep growing, and this is part of the growth.
Yeah.
And this is a stepping stone back into society. Like, I get the chance to live with you, which is amazing because I feel so comfortable. And so then when I go back to what it used to be normal, where I live with random people, I can do that no problem, you know? So it's a stepping stone for sure. And I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
You literally got me out of prison.
Well,
if you think about it like that.
You just think about it as your house arrest at your friend's house. Or your yeah.
With that ankle monitor.
Yeah. Where's my Jesse at?
Oh, he said that when he got his testicle surgery, that when he woke up, he was saying my name.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
Amnesia, or whatever it is. What, anesthesia?
Yeah.
Yeah, not amnesia. That's funny.
Next time I find myself falling in some rapids, I'll be screaming your name too, dude.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out for whatever, bro. Like, I'm an open book. I didn't even touch on half of the stuff I've ever been through.
We'll just have to do it again then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get into the specifics. Cool, dude.
Yeah, I'm like another big brother, bro. Just the
Amen.
bad one.
That's not even true, though.
Stop that, dude.
That's not even true.
Man.
That's so not true. You don't know. Okay.
The one that made more bad choices than everyone.
No shot. I have made awful choices, dude.
Yeah. Just different.
That's so, yeah.
That's the thing. The thing with religion too that irks me, that I don't like about religion, is they try to put you in this box of like, nah, you got to follow all these rules, otherwise you can't say you're this.
Right.
But no, it's about a relationship with Christ. It's about confessing, owning your stuff and your walk with Him, and understanding that nobody is the same. So I can't compare my progress with you. I can't compare my progress with Joe. Because if I do that, that's just going to lead to pride and things that are of evil, the opposite of the fruits of the Spirit.
Facts.
Really, I just need to be content. I need to be grateful. I need to focus on what God's given me. And
yeah, Josh has been one of my best friends for a long time, and he's always been there. And whether it just be to come or go hang out with, or in a rut, like on multiple occasions, he's shown me that he loves me and he cares about me, and so is your whole family. And it's like, those people are the ones that I need to invest my time into. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And same for you. Like, if you, like, Jeremiah's getting his house, and he was talking about tenants, and like, be careful, bro. Like, I know you want to do the godly thing, but some people will F your life up real fast. So you need to have some discretion when choosing who you let in and out of your life.
Intentional.
Intentional. For sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Same for you with whatever situation you're in.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing now. Well, I mean, like, I know what I'm doing right now, but I don't know what... I
don't know where I am.
Who am I?
What are you doing? Like, what's the next step?
Oh, well, I guess the next step is kind of in question, but right now I'm big chillin', and I've been attending and participating in a college ministry. I'm not a college student, but I've been showing up. I'm a facilitator there, so I've been leading a Bible study.
You're going to college for free, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's tight. He just shows up and learns.
Smarter than me, dude.
So I'm not getting a degree or anything out of it.
You figured out the cheat codes, man. Who needs a degree if you know everything?
He's like hitting X 3 times, circle up on the D-pad, left.
No, I think, like, out of all your brothers, like, you have the cheat codes. Like, you are doing...
That's so not true.
Yeah, maybe it's unintentional, but somehow you have the cheat codes.
Yeah, no. But it's like, looking at all of our lives, to not compare ourselves to each other. It's as simple as God has provided for each and every single one of us in a way that has been remarkable. It's really cool to see how He has taken us all on our own different paths, and how it's blessed us all individually, and how we are able to come together and build each other up through all of it.
That's so cool. Dude.
It's so cool. So it's really not, I have the cheat codes and Josh doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, Josh has he's a wonderful wife and kids with a beautiful family and a house, and he's sacrificed. I barely even know. I know a little bit of like what he's sacrificed to get this.
Yeah.
And to see him now glorifying God for it. It's and to see how God has orchestrated my life and Jeremiah's and Caleb's, and it's not that I have the cheat codes. It's that we're all now we're all pretty unified in values and thought, and just between our differences in that way and what we're doing in our lives, it's really fun to have each other along for that ride of just seeing what God does in our lives. It's been really fun to not like see something that God did in my life and then share it with one of my brothers, and you're like, he did that in this life, or even similar things that we share growing up. It's cool to see how God took us through all of those different situations in different ways, or the same situation, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Super cool to see His hand over all of it in all of our lives. I definitely don't have all the cheat codes. I have a big number online, but it's very unstable and not something that I take pride in, it means very little to me. I think it's a dream job that everybody wants, but that may be why God gave it to me, because I have never wanted to be a YouTuber. I just didn't want to go to college.
I think it's important to be humble, but I think it's also important to be proud. Like, you shouldn't be prideful and egotistical where it's impairing your characteristics and who you are as a person and making you look like an asshole. But you should be proud when you're doing well. Like when you're proud of yourself, you reward yourself. Yeah. So you're congratulating yourself for doing well. And so
I think my pride is in Christ, which basically means then I am just gracious to Christ for everything in my life, if that's the right way of saying that. Like, you may have a more graceful, thought-out way of saying that.
Like, is it unjust for me to say I'm proud of who I am today?
No.
I've done the things that I needed to do in order to be the person that I am, so I'm proud of the good things that I've done.
Comes back to truth, dude.
Well, I think
at its core, if you live that out, if your values are aligned with your thoughts and your thoughts are aligned with your actions, right? Because it's actually thoughts shape beliefs, beliefs shape actions, actions shape outcomes. If your thoughts are, so if your beliefs, if you're not acting out on your beliefs, then you are going to have less confidence. You're not going to feel like you've done anything worthwhile, right? You hungry, dude?
No, it's the other way.
Oh,
crazy.
I see. Yeah.
Ew. I wonder if the mic picked that up.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that distracted me, man. You gotta go take care of that.
I wonder if it's about having pride in. Maybe this is getting into semantics.
I think there's healthy pride.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it. So you feel accomplished, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. So what I used to have was pride, and that was I did this. But when I was doing the things, that would lead to stress and anxiety because I was not relying on God for it. And like the bigger things got for me, the more money I had, the more success I got. It was like, now how am I going to recreate this? And it was more stress and anxiety. I'm like, okay, now I've got to figure out how to maintain this and continue to grow it somehow. And then eventually it gets to this point where it's like, okay, this is way too much for me. So it's okay to be proud, but now on the flip side, where now I've surrendered it to God. And I am like, wow, you know what? You've actually given me all these things, even when I thought I was the one doing it. So now I'm proud in what God's given me, but I'm giving him the credit because I know from recent experience, he can give it just as quick as he can take it just as quick as he gives it. And it's a different kind of proud. Like, I am proud that he has put me in a position I've recognized the position he was trying to get me to be able to house you, to be able to be a house for Caleb and Sid at one point, to be able to be a house for, like, the way that he's been able to use me throughout the family. That's where I get the most joy. And like, looking back, that's what really matters is when I live according to him and I put my own selfish wants aside and I do something in a day that I know is not for me, I go to bed that night thinking, cool, proud of how I acted because it's in alignment with what I believe. And that in the future will pay dividends that I can't even imagine right now what they're going to be. You know what I mean? Because that's how God works. Yeah. You need to go to the bathroom, bro.
Well, we can close it up here.
Take care of that. Yeah.
Is that in and out, man? It's that in and out.
Oh, yeah. It's going for you. Yeah, thanks for getting that.
Cool. For legal, okay. So
I didn't say anything incriminating.
No.
Oh,
I will sue
this podcast was brought to you by these nuts.
These nuts. Josh's are now reversed.
In and out, Zins, Poppies.
Well, this is
100 proof by MFJ in our water bottles.
Yeah, look up my new song.
100 proof. Actually, do look up 100 proof. 100 proof sick. Cut out all that stuff I just said before that, but then include the 100 proof.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cut out everything I don't want to be aired.
Right.
But also know what I don't want without me telling you.
We're brothers. He'll know.
So this is Jesse Jones, everybody. Might as well be Jesse Lindley, honestly. This was super fun. I appreciate your openness, just as Josh does, and how he said so. It's to see you again after all these years as me being my own adult. It's kind of really fun, actually.
Yeah.
It's you definitely hold that older brother status of just like everything you do is going to be really cool, and I just like want your attention.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to see you again, dude. I'm glad to hear that you're taking ownership of your life and that growth and that pursuit of goodness, whatever that is. It's an admirable pursuit wherever you find that, wherever you find that truth, I suppose. Yeah, cool, dude. Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
That was a cool handshake. Okay, where do we find you? Apple Music, right?
Yeah, Apple Music, MFJ, Instagram at motherfucking Jones, Spotify, MFJ, SoundCloud, whatever. It's all on there.
Cool, perfect, good stuff.
Yeah,
I'll link it all in the description.
Okay.
I'll just need you to text it to me. All the links.
For family-friendly people, it's my friend Jesse.
All right, cool. You want to do the cut? I always say cut at the end and throw my hand up, and then that's when I...
What's up, guys?
Subscribe. Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you really enjoyed. I know we had a fun time making it. Please, if you really want to, support us on Patreon.
We need money. You guys can find us on all the podcast platforms, hopefully, by this point.
You will.
You will.
You will.
So Spotify, Apple,
all of them.
I guess YouTube, but not really.
And YouTube.
So find us there. Enjoy it. And if you don't, I will find you.
He found me.
Yeah. Amen.
Save me.
All right.
I think that's kind of it.
Shit. Okay.
All right. Off to Denny's.
That's a damn good. Yeah.